We'll get a wee intro. We'll have to get a name too.
I can have the editor do it too. He did my 100K one, and I loved it. I'm sure he could come up with something. Anyway, we're live now. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Hey, welcome to the Greg and Despot Show. Or somebody in the last stream had a good. They had an acronym. Well, do you remember what it was?
Well, I wanted to call us Gods.
I like Gods
because it's going to be the Greg and Despot Show. But then I thought that's too humble because it acknowledges that I have an equal, and I don't. Do you know what I mean? I'm the despot. I'm above all. So,
well, I mean, I like to think that I'm hosting and you're co-hosting right now. So, but I think the audience understands what's going on here, and that's fine. I was thinking if we don't want to go with Gods, we could go with Dago's Despot of Antrim Greg Owens show. So, and I don't see any sort of controversy with that. So we could be Dago's, and that would be fine.
Dago's is better.
Somebody actually did have a real suggestion, and I looked back to the comments and I couldn't find it. On our previous one, I don't remember what we were talking about. One of my members, Deanna, wanted to thank you personally because I guess her dad was a Navy pilot, and I'll have to look back. You'll have to look at the comments on mine. We were talking about something, and I think you mentioned something about the military and how they weren't movies didn't do them right or something like that. So she threw a thank you at for representing them properly. All right. Oh, well, Despot bounced for a second. We're gonna talk about what we're doing in the front of the stream. We're gonna plug our stuff in the front because plugging in the back doesn't really work unless you're into that kind of thing. We don't judge here, but most people aren't sticking around that long. So this week, I know I don't have a lot coming out, guys, and I'm gonna have a member stream I think on Tuesday, which I've been trying to fit those in, but I'm working like 80 hours a week at the moment, so I am making nothing. It's rough. It's a real bad dry spell. Actually, I don't know if Despot knows this or not, but you can just throw memberships in the chat if you want to, like that right there. You get 10 every month. So yeah, I've got a video hopefully coming out this week though about books. I don't have time to edit a lot, so it's like an hour long, and I'm just chatting about books. It was mostly romantasy books, the ones that I read from December, but then also just other books, whatever comes to mind. I hope it's relaxing. Everybody likes it, but that's what I'll be doing this week. Despot just got off of a very successful video recapping 10-year anniversary of possibly the start of the woke era, the Ghostbusters 2016. What else you got coming up?
Yeah. So I'll be releasing a video on April 1st, but I will withhold the topic for now. It's going to be a bit of a U-turn for me in terms of my channel, but people will understand.
I like it. Keep it mysterious. All right. Well, our next guest is something of an anomaly because, there are fake fictional wizards. There's Rincewind, the assistant librarian. There is Dr. Doolittle the Brown, as his friends call him, or Radagast. There's Caboth, who's no longer a magician or wizard, and maybe he will be. We'll never fucking find out because Patrick Rothfuss can't finish a goddamn book. But this is the real fake wizard. Here he is, and a big congratulations to him for hitting 100K recently. Huge.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's a lot of fake wizards out there. I just happen to tell everybody that I'm a fake wizard. A lot of
the audience appreciates the honesty.
Right.
So you've
had a couple is real though.
You've had a couple of banger videos recently. One actually just dropped today about Lord of the Rings, which we're going to talk about a little bit. So we'll loop in some of this pagan accusations in. But what do you got coming up this week that you're really excited about working on?
Oh, I'm finally going to talk about Harry Potter, and I'm looking forward to our conversation here if we get to it. There's a lot of everybody's talking about Snape and the casting around Snape, but I'm going to focus on the fact that Harry Potter is the last fandom standing. This is it. This is the last one. Everything else has fallen by the wayside for some reason or another. Either it finished or it got destroyed, and this is it, man. So I'll be doing that'll be the next video that I do.
It's the only one. I'm excited for the breakdown on that one. The Wizard had a breakdown about the Xbox CEO and just sort of the state of gaming in general and stuff. That was a couple of weeks ago, but really well researched, really well presented. That was a great one. And I forgot to mention Despot with a recent video. Has Sexy Karen been a thing for a while? I usually listen to your videos, and I happened to pull my phone up and I saw Super Hot Karen iPhone. Is that new?
Yeah,
because it was fabulous.
she's been doing that for a couple of videos now. So in the last one, I had her like hot, and I thought, that's pretty cool. I'll just have her hot in the next one. So I think she's done it twice now and then. But she does in my Ghostbusters video, she actually dies and comes back as a ghost. But there's lots of little visual gags, like for the viewers, and I know most people just listen to the videos, but for those that watch it, they'll get the little visual gags. I'm gonna ask my graphic designer to just draw her as like a fully hot whatever. Like he can do what he wants, but I'm just gonna say make Karen iPhone as hot as possible, like within YouTube guidelines, and I'll be interested to see what he comes up with. But yeah, she's on a bit of an arc at the minute.
I love it. And our last guest for today is a triple threat. She is not only an author and also a content creator. I hate calling it content, but that's the way it is. And also an editor. Please welcome the No Nonsense editor, aka No Nonsense Kristen, aka Kristen McTiernan. Welcome to the show.
Again, nonsense-free Kristen Gregg.
That's what did I say? No nonsense. No, nonsense-free. Nonsense-free Kristen is the actual channel name.
Yes. Much more Google friendly.
You had a book come out recently that, if I can get that video cut this week, there's a section there reviewing it because it was a really fun read, called The Twitter Crush. Yes. What else you got as far as videos and stuff? What do you got coming up this soon? You got some fun interviews or
yeah. So we have author interviews every Monday, and I did them all in a block, so I honestly don't remember who's coming out this Monday. But this Thursday, I have a solo video which kind of details the rise and fall of Westerns as their popularity and kind of the reason that they went away, despite the fact that people still like them and they're hard to find. But really, it's an excuse for me to solicit submissions for the print issue of Black Market Fiction. June is the Western edition. So at the end of that video, I will be asking people to submit short stories and or essays with a Western or space Western theme.
Kristen,
awesome.
When you receive submissions, do you go to AI check? Is that just standard now?
I don't. We are AI agnostic. If it sounds AI, if I have that stupid cadence, you're out. I don't care because it's bad. But I'm not going to do the AI check where I'm like, oh, well, the AI fact checker says that it's AI. I don't do that. But if it sounds AI, no, thank you.
Okay.
So Kristen and Wizard are actually they're making us look like bums because they're doing stuff. Kristen's got the Black Market Fiction. Wizard has the indie games prop thing that he's doing, trying to promote more indie games and stuff. I feel like I'm lagging here.
There are benefits to being a childless cat lady.
That's very
same.
I wouldn't say I recommend it, but it's helpful.
Same, but I don't have cats.
Wizard also identifies as a cat lady.
That's right.
A spiritual cat lady.
All right. Well, let's just jump on into it. First of all, the success of the week. #1 movie in the universe, they're saying, for the second week in a row, Project Hail Mary. Have you all seen it?
Yes.
And what did you guys think? Because I'm gonna glaze the hell out of this thing. So we should, if anybody has any tempered opinions, we should probably go with that.
I also loved it, and more so than the book, because anytime you get deep into the science, I don't like that. I know that I'm in the minority there, but I liked the movie better.
Oh, I want to hear more about this because this is an interesting take. Because I'm not a science guy at all. I scraped a C in science in my, the last year I had to do it in school, and I was delighted. So, Kristen, what did you not like about the sort of dance science? I loved the science of the book, like I loved it. But what did you not like about that?
It just bores me, and I have the same thing when it comes to like technical specs for weapons as well. Even when it's important to the story, like, oh, I have a particular weapon and the trigger speed is XYZ, and that's why I'm able to defeat the bad guy because his gun isn't as good as mine. I still hate it. I just glaze over. I don't care. Like, I'm actually much more like, if a wizard in your gun made it work instead of like the trigger speed, I'd be more interested in that. So I don't know if like it's a male brain female thing.
I was going to ask you, do you think that is a difference between male and female readers?
I really think it is, because people are like, "Oh, you're not like other girls," but in a lot of ways, I am. I don't like hearing about like the specifications of things. I hate it when people check my science. Like when I write time travel, I intentionally make it really vague because I don't want to hear a thing from the autists who understand science, because it's just like I don't care. I would much prefer, like a la Outlander, you just touch the magic rock and you time travel. I don't know why there needs to be physics involved. And I think that's a big part of male brain, female brain. We care more about people and relationships, and Hail Mary, the movie, really mastered that. It's just all kinds of feels versus,
That's
you know,
true.
and I never
That's
bothered
actually
with The Martian because
that's a great point. One of the reasons the movie is such a big success, I think, is because it's so appealing to men and women. It hits on that, the relationship and the emotional aspect of it, but it's also absolute gear porn.
It's not trying to be anything other than a story. It's not trying to. It's just there to tell a positive story with a positive hero figure. I think that's really it. This is not. I enjoyed the film. I'm very happy I saw it, but this is not like the greatest movie ever made. And the reason it's doing such gangbusters at the box office right now is because, like, there's been such a dry spell of nothing even worthwhile of going, nothing worth going to see at all, that now this is so explosive because, like, hey, that's what good feels like. That was good. I don't even think this is worth seeing a second time. Personally, that's not me saying that the movie's bad at all. It's just we have been inundated with garbage for such a long time that to have something come along that's even remotely good, it's like, yeah, Hollywood, you could print money if you just made good stuff.
Yeah, well, it's I had to mute for a second. Mrs. Owen popped in here, Kristen, to emphatically agree that. So I listened to it a couple months ago to just kind of see what all the hubbub was about. We saw the movie, everybody loved it. In my family, they're all listening to it right now, and she's enjoying it. Listening to the book right now, and she's enjoying it, but she's like, the science, all the like, I don't need any of that shit.
Yep,
like, we
exactly.
That's the details. Let's get to this story.
Yes. I'm here for the friendship, damn it.
See, on the other hand, I that was the thing. I liked the movie a lot. I thought it was fantastic. The thing that was missing was the science, because what I loved about the book was, I mean, the whole story is optimistic, which I fully agree, Wizard, that like everything is so nihilistic and so dreary and just, oh, aren't we cool that we're emo? It's not cool anymore. People just want the sincere optimism. But what I like about what the author did was he made science exciting because science was optimistic in the book. There's no problem that can't be solved if we just put our minds to it. If we come together and we're not afraid to fail and we engineer a solution and we try some stuff and we whittle away the things that don't work. Like, it made science exciting and optimistic at the same time. And that's what I loved about it. I heard there was a 3 hour and 45-minute director cut apparently floating around that they screened to people. I would watch the shit out of that if there was more of the trial and error type stuff.
Yeah, I would watch it again if there was more content to be seen with it. But like in its current state, I don't see much of a reason to watch it ever again, personally. And that's not to say it's a bad movie at all.
I actually think that if you did a director's cut, that would do awesome numbers on streaming. Because I think a lot of people, oh, for fuck's sake, did I jam? Did I jam there, Greg?
You just got your robot. Your inner robot came out. Are you a synth?
No, I'm gonna go fix my. I think my internet's acting up. I'm gonna have to go fix my internet, so I'll be out for a couple of minutes. Okay.
Boo.
All right, back in a bit.
All right.
That's that Kmart connection acting up. It happens, man.
I mean, all the theaters were packed. I didn't get to see this in IMAX because I thought about it too late, and that was all sold out. I mean, I just looked up the box office numbers. Apparently, as of the second weekend, it looks like it's going to finish above 300 million worldwide. So that's fantastic. There was a Ryan Gosling, as a lot of people's new hero, because apparently in a recent interview, he was saying this is the way it has to be. Like, it's not the audience's job to keep theaters alive or keep studios alive or whatever. He came out and said that we have to make videos that are worth coming to see. And now I love him even more.
Did you see the clip? Did you guys see the clip at all?
No.
Saw the headline.
Okay. It is organic. It happens almost on accident because he's walking into a theater and like greeting the people that are in the theater. It's not an interview or anything. And he's just talking with the audience, and he says, it's not your job to save theaters. It's our job to make movies that are worth going to see. It's our job to make things worth seeing. And it's like, oh, so there are some people in Hollywood that understand the business and economics of this all. Like there are some people even at the highest caliber as Ryan Gosling that understands that you have to give something to the audience worth them paying money and time to go see. So I'm pretty sure he got a call from somebody that said knock it off. That's after that, but no, it's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, right there, Hollywood should cater to us. We are the customer.
Yeah, 100%.
And I can see why he'd be one of the people who actually understands that, because most people don't remember this, but he started off on the Mickey Mouse Club, with Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake and everything like that. And that's how I first came to know him. He was, we were about the same age. And if there's one thing I can say for that show, is that they understood that entertainment was their job. And if something didn't work, they would acknowledge that, because they did improv and stuff like that. And they always called it out. It didn't work. We'll do it better next time. And I feel like if you start in a situation like that, especially if you're doing live performances, you understand that you live and die by making the audience happy. That's what you do. It's not actually their job to make you happy. And I feel like these, the Rachel Zeglers of the industry kind of are backwards on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and I think Gosling obviously understands that, with things becoming more and more social, I think he understands the Michael Jordan philosophy of other people, right wingers buy shoes too. So I think that he's very smart in this of just, even if he does, I mean, maybe in his personal life, he agrees with, other crazy things that other actors and stuff are saying, but he clearly has the sense to read the room and read the audience and say the things or he's understanding what's going on here instead of thinking of himself as more important than everybody else, which is excellent. Now Despot gets to be covered every time
So Ryan Gosling tells Hollywood it's not moviegoers' job to keep theaters open. It's our job to make things that are worth viewers coming out. And so on that topic, I just wanted to share this. Can you share the article that I put up, Greg?
Hang on. If I remove that and then do that. Aha.
So Hollywood's sort of narrative is that, movie theaters, they're closing down and they're shutting down because it's an old thing, and then COVID and people don't do it as much as they did, and it's fucking streaming. I'm gonna go through a bunch of box office bombs from 2025. Stop me when you come across a movie that you think bombed unfairly and should have succeeded. Okay. Now I know you like Thunderbolts, Greg. We'll not get into that. But I've made no secret of the fact that I think this is a piece of shit. I
can still agree that it should have bombed because the way they built up to it was, I mean, it was gonna. I think it's a good movie, but I still think that it was gonna fail, and it deserved to because of the way that it was handled.
Yeah, Snow White and the 7 CGI Abominations. I don't think I need to say any more than just the title.
What, you guys didn't like Snow White?
I love Snow White. I think Snow White's a masterpiece. I didn't like whatever this piece of shit was.
It's free money.
Mickey 17.
I hated Mickey 17.
God-awful movie. Just horrible. Although, Kristen, I think you liked that one, didn't you?
I did. I was mad what they did with Ruffalo, because he should have been a Joel Osteen insert, and he channeled Trump instead. I feel like just on the strength of that performance, it could have been a masterpiece, science notwithstanding.
I might have liked it more if it was more of a Joel Osteen then.
He should have been.
That's somebody I love to hate right there.
So this makes me feel very special. After The Hunt, I saw about 20 minutes of this movie, and I think I was pretty much the only person that even attempted to watch it. So
I've never heard of it.
So basically, this is Luca Guadagnino. It's the same guy that directed Call Me by Your Name and Queer. If you've heard of that, you would have if you watched my videos. And this is an abomination. So I watched this for 20 minutes, and this thing cost like nearly $100 million to make. I don't know how, because for the first 20 minutes, it's a bunch of academics sitting around talking out of their arse, just talking wank. So they're having conversations about Freud, and then some wanky academioid walks in and says, "Oh, Freud, wasn't he a misogynist?" And then Julia Roberts replies, well, they were all misogynist, obviously. And you're just having to listen to these wankers, do what modern academics do, which is to just pick a random famous man from the past and shit all over him. And this goes on for 20 minutes, and they start talking about DEI and diversity hiring, and Julia Roberts insists on calling it in equity or something like that, whatever the buzzword is. Oh, dear God, it was awful. And after 20 minutes, I couldn't take anymore. It was just one of the worst fucking things I've seen. Oh, it was one of the worst things I've seen last year, and I couldn't even watch more than 20 minutes.
I kind of want to watch it now because it sounds awful.
So, it's awful. Christie, I actually, did anybody else watch Christie? I think I was the only person on the planet.
Saw it.
You saw what you think? Okay, fake wizard. Let's be fair. What do you think?
I didn't care for it at all. I don't.
A resigned endorsement from fake wizard there.
I didn't care for it at all.
So basically, Christie's shite. It's just the most dull, boring, bland, predictable, hits all the beats you would expect it to hit biopic. It's basically it's not supposed to make money. It was supposed to, like, they knew it would flop. By the way, if anyone's wondering why studios would deliberately make movies that flop, it's awards bait. If you're a studio and you get awards, there are financial reasons for that. So, for example, actors are more likely to work with studios that have good resumes, and having a good resume in Hollywood means having lots of awards. So if you make a movie that gets lots of awards, that looks good in the resume, especially if those awards are recent, and that makes it more likely for name actors and other types of talent to work with you. And not just the studio, but the agents and the production companies involved all like to have their names attached to awards. So that even though it's going to flop long term, it's worth them putting money, especially if it's low budget, into shite like Christie to get awards. And that's all Christie is. It's awards bait slop. And its angle is that Christie was a lesbian. So, it's LGBT inclusive, and it's the evil Midwestern hicks oppressing her lesbian sexuality and all this bollocks. It's a load of bollocks. It's not the worst movie I saw last year, but it's just dull as hell. It has absolutely no flair. I do think that what's her tits is really good in it. Sydney Sweeney, she was great. Really, really got into the role, and she put on 30 pounds for it. And she still looks, still looks hot, like even, carrying a bit of extra weight. But she was good. And the guy who played Don King was great. He's a fantastic actor. But that's really all I can say for it. It's a rubbish movie, and I'm glad it bombed. Didn't win any.
That was the one. That was one where it bombed, and they tried to say that her denim ad
was done.
is the reason that it bombed, because people were mad about her ad.
And it's like, no, it's just, wouldn't you know it? Americans aren't really interested in going to see a movie about some obscure lesbian boxer.
Right. Yeah. A lesbian biopic movie. Guys aren't flocking out to see it.
Yeah. And then her next movie made like $350 million on a $5 budget because she shows her tits in it. I know what you did last summer. I saw this one as well. This was so bad it was actually funny. A guy's in the process of being murdered, and he turns around to the guy murdering him and says, "What the fuck, bro?" It is astoundingly bad.
Was it in on the joke, or was it trying to be serious? Because I didn't see it.
Okay, so the guy who turns around to the killer and says that, he is a kind of chud type. He's a sort of chatty chud. So they were trying to parody that kind of personality type. So I think they were a little bit in on the joke, but it was still very funny moment. This is the movie that got the worst word of 2025. Kristen, you might be interested in that. So the word of the year last year was woke, or not woke, it was slop. And I did the worst word of the year. I decided the worst word of 2025 was bro, because it's so massively overused and has lost all meaning. So that deserved a flop. And then you've got, I didn't even know this movie existed. Yet another awards-based music biopic, because everyone was asking for the 48 billionth music biopic. Then what else? You got Elio. Greg was a big fan of that.
Hey,
2.0 and The Smashing Machine, sort of The Rock's Oscar bait slop. So you can stop sharing that, Greg. I mean, tell me which of those movies deserved to, be a smash hit. Which of them should have. I mean, Ryan Gosling is right. That's the kind of shite they are coming out with.
Yeah.
Right?
To the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars.
They all deserve to flop. Every one of them.
They'll either do that or they'll do low effort, just, ooh, look, it's super saturated and shiny. You kids love fucking Cocoa Melon, don't you? Because that's the equivalent of what we're making. It's one of those two extremes.
Well, especially with the Oscars' new rules, you're talking about the Oscar bait. I think with the diversity rules that they have, you can't now make a movie that is both Oscar bait and actually good. You used to be able to make both of those things in one film. Now it's like you have to pick one or the other. So it's like, okay, who wants to go see the disabled lesbian movie versus back in the day? Yeah, you had the boomer slop Oscar, Schindler's List, the 19 millionth Holocaust movie, but it was still a good movie. You can go snotty cry in the theater. But now it's like you have to make one that fits the diversity check boxes or you can't even be nominated. And nobody wants to see that shit, not even the people that it's made for.
Oh, by the way, me and Greg should do a little victory lap. We both predicted that One Battle After Another would win Best Picture. Out of 10 movies, we got it right.
Yeah.
It was a tough one this year. Real tough with the ICE protests. It was so hard to predict.
I felt, you know what? They won't be able to help themselves because the whole ICE thing, it's kind of the current thing. And Hollywood just couldn't help themselves. They had to get in on it.
No, it was so bad. And it was, it's funny. You can tell that people don't even care. I like to watch Man Carrying Thing. I think he can be pretty funny, although he can be a little insufferable sometimes. And his Oscars roundup was just that. He was kind of given opinions on it. Of course, One Battle for Another was his favorite. And all he could just say was it was great. It's the movie of the moment. And people are going to remember it forever. No, they won't. They won't remember it a month from now. Nobody gives a shit. It's not the movie of the moment just because it agrees with your politics.
I think they'll remember a gun getting stuck somewhere. I think if they remember anything, it'll be that.
That's very true. They won't remember Sean Penn having to get it up on command, which isn't a thing that can happen. It'd be nice. So with this, we'll move on from the movie real quick here too, because I want to bring up the book because the movie doing so well has been getting people to read the book. And there's been an interesting, there's your standard contrarian bullshit where everybody just, it's a best-selling book. The movie's doing great. And so of course people are coming out of the woodwork to say, actually Andy Weir is a terrible author. And he also was interviewed by Critical Drinker. So he's, undesirable number one at this point. But people are bringing up something that there is some validity that his writing style is not, like his prose is not great. I mean, it's just not. His dialogue is not amazing. And if you just grab sections of it and you read them by themselves, you think, oh, that's not great writing. But then as I'm reading the whole book, I'm so invested in it. I'm invested in the whole Project Hail Mary, the mission that humanity is on. I'm invested in his bromance with Rocky that it didn't bother me that Andy's prose and dialogue are things I guarantee I would criticize in different kinds of books. So I was interested in y'all's take on that, where is it this book or is it a different show or a movie where you can look at it and objectively think I should be criticizing this, but I can't because I'm in love with it anyway.
I feel like a lot of genre books are like that. So if we cast back our memories a little bit to Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code, I mean, it was rightly mocked. It's like, what is this fourth grade bullshit? And why does everyone like it so much? And the answer to that is, storytelling pacing is a big part of it. Having those mini cliffhangers at the end of the very short chapters, which keep you running. Now, Andy Weir doesn't do the short chapters, but he's very bingeable. He's very captivating, where he has that thing where he just keeps drawing you in. And the fact that the prose isn't that great really doesn't matter so much, especially now in genre fiction. If you want that great prose, literary fiction has always existed for you, but now it's much more about the story and the ability to keep someone's attention. And Andy Weir, boring science notwithstanding, he does master that.
Yeah, it was an interesting thing. I saw some of this floating around Twitter because I waste time there sometimes. And yeah, I mean, I saw some of the clips that people were showing of the book, and I thought, yeah, I mean, it's valid. I think Despot, you called it what did you call it?
It was described to me as Reddit-core.
No, you had I got to look it up here because you called it. The Holden Caulfield error is how you
yeah.
describe this one.
Yeah, I call this. So basically, the Holden Caulfield error is where people they become so emotionally invested in detesting a character in a book that they end up confusing that with the book itself. So, for example, if you've read Catcher in the Rye, you will know that Holden Caulfield is just a wanker. I describe him as the first example in modern literature of the modern wanker. So it's the first time the modern wanker shows up in literature. And if you're interested in what I mean by that, if you look back to, like, what did an intellectually curious guy look like in literature prior to World War II? Like, if you've read Ulysses, maybe Stephen Dedalus, the sort of guy who's at times narrating Ulysses, or it's written from his perspective. But he's a very likable guy, Stephen Dedalus. He's not judgmental. He's not constantly casting his eye around to look to think, well, I'm better than him and I'm smarter than him, and he's an open book, but I'm just so infinitely deep. There's none of that. But then as part of the sort of post-war nihilism, you get stuff like Holden Caulfield. But it's still brilliant. The fact that the writer was able to so perfectly capture that the psyche, which was part of the zeitgeist, although it was a small part of it, it would eventually grow and become much bigger and eventually become emo. But this guy was writing an emo character in when was Catcher in the Rye published? Was it the 1950s?
60s.
I want to say yes.
1960s. So he's basically writing a kind of emo kid psyche in the 60s. That is amazing. The fact that he was able to catch on to that early. It's an amazing book, but Holden Caulfield's just detestable. And what you don't want to do with Project Hail Mary is think, well, I don't like the main character, Grace, because he's too Reddit core. Like, he's too science is fucking awesome. He's too much of that personality type. He's not assertive enough. He's not masculine enough. He's too agreeable. He's sort of pussy adjacent. He's afraid to really assert himself. He's not enough of a fucking man. You can make those arguments and you could dislike Grace on the basis that his personality is a bit soy. And it is a bit soy. But, it's still an amazing movie. And there's nothing wrong with having a character that is just a personality type that you don't like. What I really love about that character is, whether you love him or hate him, that personality type is so well realized and so consistent throughout the movie. His actions, his thoughts, his behaviors are completely consistent with that character type. There's even a major revelation in the third act. I'll not spoil it because I know some people still haven't seen the movie, but there's a major revelation about basically his character, his personality in the third act. And it is so consistent with that kind of Redditor soy personality type. So yes, you can dislike that kind of vaguely Reddit core writing style and personality type, but it's still a brilliant book. Don't make the Holden Caulfield error.
Like it. Yeah. I mean, as I was reading it, there were times I'm like, God, I don't like this guy. But at the same time, I was on board with his story and where he was going. It was kind of weird at times where I was like, the flashbacks, this guy is a dick sometimes. He's argumentative for no reason. But then I want to see him succeed. It was, I don't know, the author got me invested, and I think that's the core of it. The prose is, I mean, it's nice. I like good prose. I hate on Rothfuss all the time because it's just easy to make fun of him, but I do like the way he writes, but that's not everything.
Well, I mean, a great example of that is Kazuo Ishiguro. I've really loved some of his early work, like Artist of the Floating World and Remains the Day, are just two of the best written books in the latter half of the 20th century. But his recent stuff, I just can't get through. It's beautifully written. His prose is still gorgeous, but his characters, his ideas, and his stories become lost. It's almost like his books now, they're more like narrative poetry and he's just become disinterested in plot, story, and character. And it's no good having incredible, beautiful writing if there's no story at the core of it. So if you're going to make me choose between, a writer who's an incredibly beautiful writer or an Andy Weir, I'll just take the Andy Weir because I know the story is going to be and the characters are going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Before we move on, let's see here. Oh, that Greg Owen, he gave away some memberships.
Stand-up guy.
What a swell guy. My goodness. You know what he should do? Well, he should give away 5 more. Honestly, is what I think should happen. But also on a more serious note, Riders Sail Away 30, $10. Thank you very, very much. Hey, Greg, have you watched Freer in season 2 yet? And you could do some more videos on anime, but if you need help, I wouldn't mind giving you a hand with that, since I know you don't know a whole lot of anime. I did start watching Freer in season 2. I'm like I said, my whole life is just on a standstill at the moment with work, but I think I got 3 or 4 episodes in. I'm absolutely loving it so far. It's continuing the story that I love. If you guys haven't seen the show, it's another example where the overarching plot is actually pretty simplistic. It's really not even the main focus. It's just the emotional connection between the characters. It's their own personal inner and external journeys. Like, it's fantastic show. It's anime. A lot of people don't like it just because it's animated, but really, really good stuff. And then I think a lot of people want to know the answer. I saw this one and just started because a lot of people would like to know the lore behind. Oh, he fucking laughed.
No, I'm here.
Oh. So where'd Karen iPhone come from?
Karen iPhone is originally from a game called Cruelty Squad. And she's not a character or anything. She's just she gives you little missions. So you pause the screen and she'll fark out the mission for you. And she doesn't even speak, it's just text. So but the image was so hideous and memeable. I just thought it was very funny. So I started including her in my videos, and then I originally used her to read quotes, and then her role evolved from there to the point where now she's she's my co-host for the Worst of Woke Awards. But yeah, that's it's like all my characters. My characters they come from somewhere and then they evolve over time. My most recent character, Racist Coffee Pot, is probably my most immediately popular. In fact, I've had people in the comments flat out accusing me. Oh my God, I didn't realize this was a racist channel. And I think they must have missed the Hidden Figures video, because they don't realize that it's a parody of the sort of condescending white liberal racism that Hollywood just infuses all their shite with.
Oh,
wow. That's my most recent
one. The coffee pot's a fun one.
Yeah. Not all, most of his jokes aren't racist anyway. Like with Greg, that was a great skit, by the way, Greg. It was a good performance. He just tells dad jokes. That's the thing. If it's just racist jokes, it wouldn't be funny. It has to be a mix. You've got to have some bad jokes, some sexist jokes, some corny jokes. Do you know what I mean? Even jokes you would tell a kid. That's where the humor comes from. It also makes it less predictable. But yeah, I do love my characters, and I like that the characters are completely organic. I don't sit down and think about it. Like, I've got another character called, what's his name? Scott. And Scott just, whenever he shows up in a video, I accuse him of some crime against geek culture and then execute him. Stuff like that. It's good.
Poor Scott.
He's been executed about a dozen times now.
There's a little controversy. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch this. This is another one that I think it's gonna be weird to rewatch, because I know, Despot, I know you liked it. I made a positive video about it. Chris and Wizard, I don't know how you guys felt about Dune Part 2, but I loved it. And weirdly though, I forgot it existed until Part 3 came out. So it's kind of a bit of a commentary on it all by itself. And it's like fast food. It's great when you're watching it, and then just sort of disappears, and that's a little sad.
Yeah, I've gone out of my way to I have not seen Dune 1 or 2 specifically, because I didn't think we'd get this far. I didn't want to watch the first one, and then it doesn't continue into, the second, and then maybe we don't get to Dune 3. So I'm like, oh, I'm just going to watch them all when Dune 3 arrives, because after The Hobbit and waiting to the next year, and then this was 2 years in between each movie, I'm like, I'm not interested in that anymore.
Yeah,
and I'm done with the trilogies method. So I don't really have much to contribute here. I want to know what you guys think, because I haven't seen any of them yet.
I enjoyed 1 and most of 2, but then when we got to the end, I'm like, well, what the hell are we going to do now? Because Channy's kind of a real big part of Dune Messiah. So I can't. How do you fix that? They were so invested in giving her agency or whatever. It's like, oh, we couldn't possibly have her be a willing concubine. So now we're just going to rewrite the entire book? I don't know how this works with this plot twist. I really don't. And also her with the scally face for the whole movie was really insufferable. Thank God they had Austin Butler for me to gawk at, because I'd have been really annoyed if I had to look at her for the whole time.
I think it's the only face that she knows how to make.
I think so.
And she's been doing it since Casey Undercover, which my kids watch. I mean, that's the face she's been making since she was a child actor. Like, it's been that forever.
She can play sort of indie roles where she is just playing a girl. But I think when you put her outside of that and try to have her in like space opera or big epics, she's just out of her depth. There is a specific type of character she can play, but yeah, people hated seeing her and stuff. She doesn't have the range for stuff like Dune. But yeah, go ahead, Greg.
Well, I have not read Dune Messiah. I read Dune when I was a kid, and then I read it a couple years later. I'd like to read it. I'm going to read it a third time here recently. I think I'm going to go through the whole series now that I've got myself started. But it was one of those things. I don't know why I never picked up Dune Messiah. And so I read it last week to talk about and kind of see where they might be going. And I think Dune should have been a trilogy all by itself. I don't know. I feel like it ended fine. Dune Messiah feels unnecessary. It feels like the inevitable conclusion. And that's where I don't know if it's true that Herbert wrote it as like you guys misinterpreted what I was trying to do, and so I'm going to show you where this story goes. I don't know if that's actually a true story or that's been made up in the years since, but it does. The book did not clear it up for me because it feels a little bit like I'm going to confirm for you, reader, where Dune was going. But if you read Dune, you should know where it's going. It's very clear. I don't know. I'm interested to see how they adapt it, because not a lot happens in this, but it's an interesting book. I had a great time. I sound like I didn't like it, but I really did like it. I just don't know how it's going to be a movie, and I don't know how they're going to deal with Duncan being in love with a 15-year-old. They're going to have to change that also. So they got a lot of things to fix.
The big issue with a lot of his later Dune books. So obviously Dune 1 is, one of the great masterpieces of literature. And after that, a lot of the Dune series is just political philosophy. So if you've ever read God Emperor of Dune, that's a truly unfilmable movie. It's just a giant worm talking to, is it Duncan Idaho, the clone of Duncan Idaho?
Yeah.
So he's talking to Duncan Idaho in like one of his chambers, and that's basically the book. That's unfilmable. You can't do anything with God Emperor. There's not enough action in it, not even close. It does have a female character who's kind of leading a little rebellion, which I think Hollywood would really like, but she's not a big enough part of the story. But whatever. The thing with Dune Messiah, most of it is political philosophy. It has those endless conversations which take place in dull, boring chambers, and there's bits and pieces of court intrigue going on. There are big wars happening, but they're happening far away from the narrative, and Paul is detached from them by this stage. They're being handled by his generals, and they never actually enter the narrative. Basically, as a movie, if you were to adapt Dune Messiah, you would have 2 acts of just bone-achingly boring dialogue, like for most of the audience, and then a big, flashy third act full of action, and that's just not enough. So what Villeneuve is doing, and I completely agree with this, if you're going to go past Dune and adapt the other books, he's combining Messiah with Children of Dune. So he's going to combine those 2 books into one movie. And I agree, because I don't think there's any other choice. If you're going to do a big, high-budget IMAX movie, you absolutely need to get Children of Dune in there, because Dune Messiah by itself, not a chance. There's the opening act of the movie. You can do Dune Messiah in the opening act. You'll miss all the political philosophy, but in terms of the action beats, you'll pack them all in there. And then at the end of Act 1, you can transition to Children of Dune. So I suspect he'll do something like that. As for the Chani problem, yeah, that is. I actually thought, I didn't realize Chani full on left him. I thought Chani was just off in a huff at the end of the Dune movie. I didn't realize like she was actually divorcing the guy basically, or leaving him. And that's
what I thought too.
That's because to me, why would Villeneuve do that? That doesn't make any sense. It's going to completely throw off the series. You can't do that. Why the hell is he going to impregnate her if she's off, doing her own thing? So that's a bit weird, but we'll see what happens. And I did really like both Dune movies. I don't think they're masterpieces. I don't think they need to be, but they're very well made. They're beautiful to look at. They've got some excellent action. I do think he fucked up with Chani at the end of the second one, but other than that, I thought the movies were great. Not one. I think one has some serious problems. The biggest one was the race and gender swap of that character. The ecologist Kynes.
Liet Kynes, yeah.
Liet Kynes. That was just awful. I hated that. And there are other problems with one as well. But two is definitely a better movie.
It's odd to me that, like I said, I think the first book could have been a good trilogy. Like, I think the first movie, you have the takeover of the planet, the transition of power, and basically the first movie should end with the Harkonnen. That's a big set piece you can end your movie on, of the surprise attack. They take over the planet. Oh my goodness, the bad guys have won. And then you fade to black with Paul and Jessica in the desert. Oh, they've survived. Okay, great. We have a lead into part two. Part two is the rise of Paul. And then part three becomes Paul realizing that he's going to cause a galaxy-wide jihad and trying to, thread the needle of how do I control this without letting it get out of control, and then finally becoming the emperor. I think that would be a great 3-part movie series. And I don't know. I just think by shortening it, something I want to get you guys' take on is how do you, like with Project Hail Mary, with this, how do you adapt something to a movie, and what are the themes? Because you can't do all the themes. I mean, Dune has 13, 15 themes going on at a given time, and you can't do that with a movie. Otherwise, the viewers will say, oh, it was a mess and the pacing was terrible and I didn't know what was going on. So you kind of have to pick a lane. But it seems like they dropped a lot of the political subterfuge and stuff, and that's the thing that was missing for me. What do you guys think is important when you're adapting a book like this? What do you have to choose to be the main thing?
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? Because then the director says, okay, what do I want to say? And then they basically cherry pick the elements of what they need to keep and what they need to toss out to say what they actually want to say. So I feel like Villeneuve did a good job in kind of making it an action movie, a cautionary tale, and dropping the political intrigue. So maybe, I don't know, he's not a director who worries about taxing attention spans. He's not like a Netflix guy. But I feel like another director probably could have made a very, modern audience choice with what he had. But yeah, I feel like the directors have to kind of decide what they want to say with something this dense. With Project Hail Mary, not so much. Like I was glad that they dropped a lot of the environmental crap that was in the book. I thought that worked out really well, but you do kind of have to make those decisions of, okay, well, what is the final picture going to say and what is going to get left out?
The adaptations are tough now because there's almost too much you need to cover, and I mean, we're seeing it. I mean, not to jump the gun, but we look at like what Harry Potter's going to do, right? And how they're doing the whole eight episode thing, and it's multiple years between seasons, or as I said with this, it's like it's multiple years between the movies. I look at something like One Piece now as the formula for doing adaptation. You get as close as you can, but you're going to have to cut some things out. Like it's some things are just not going to work, or some elements are going to perform better in a live action adaptation than it would in any other way. And unfortunately, I just feel like personally, and I'm curious to know what you guys think, I'm getting tired of it. Like I'm getting tired of constant adaptations always and forever now. Like everything is just going to be a book adaptation, or it's going to be a remake or a rewrite, or when are we going to get some new things? And that's the position I'm in. So, for Dune fans, this is great. And I'm looking forward to watching the whole trilogy. But as far as like constantly adapting or now, now it's, we got Project Hail Mary, and that was a success. And now immediately, they're doing Andy Weir's next book is going to get a movie. It's going to fast track into a movie. It's like, this is going to make money. I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking for something new that's not an adaptation of something that we have to compare back to. And I don't know where we're going to get that or at what point that happens, but it would be nice if that was a possibility.
I think that would require a level of taking on risks that studios are just not interested in doing it. The reason it's all book adaptations or series adaptations all the time is because they're like, okay, this is a built-in audience and we know it'll do well. We just have to not fuck it up. And then also with the writers that they've got in the writing rooms, because they've got the DEI initiatives, they don't actually care if you're talented. They just care if you follow directions and you check the right boxes. So they're not hiring, the seasoned screenwriter who's been shopping scripts all over the place because he doesn't check the right boxes. And they're not going to take a chance on, okay, well, this screenplay won a couple of competitions, but will that translate to box office? Oh, we don't know. And we don't want to be embarrassed. So there's just that level of risk aversion because they don't have the straight to DVD. They don't, and I don't know, maybe they're more comfortable taking risks with streaming. Let's hope. But
yeah, Netflix, to their credit, Netflix are kind of a bit of a schizophrenic monster. So they'll make stuff like, Cleopatra Was Black show, but they will give chances to creators based on original ideas. Like, for example, Squid Game. Mm-hmm. So Squid Game season 1 is and was and remains absolutely brilliant. But then they do the whole Netflix thing where they will just squeeze the IP to death. They'll do it with K-pop Demon Hunters. That's a great example. Another one. Amazing original story, but now they're going to rape it to death, just producing sequel after sequel, spin-offs and all that bollocks until the franchise is dead, just like Squid Game. And they also gave Zack Snyder a big chance and a massive budget for, I can't even remember what it was called. What was that big
about Rebel Moon?
Rebel Moon.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible.
Hollywood, I mean, it depends on the studio. It's more so Netflix. Amazon even will do original stuff. Disney won't ever. Warner.
They just confirmed that. I don't know if you watched their shareholders meeting. That was embarrassing.
So Disney will never ever do stuff like that. Netflix will, Amazon might, but it depends on the studio. And so there is original stuff there, but it's it's a mixed bag. Sometimes it's an absolute smash like K-pop Demon Hunters, and then you get your Rebel Moons. So there is originality there, but I can understand completely where Hollywood's coming from. I mean, if you're an investor and you're going to put $200 million into a project, you're not going to put it into a completely untested, unknown IP. You might put it into a top bestseller that has a huge fandom. You might do it for that, but you're not going to throw that much money into an unknown. And that's nothing new. That's Hollywood have been doing that for decades. A lot of the original stuff, what people forget is that, the original stuff from back in the day, it was made much, much cheaper than what movies cost now. And obviously that's adjusting for inflation. And one of the reasons for that is because the Hollywood weren't having to compete with low-level producers. Like, you can be an indie film and still make a really good-looking movie. Whereas in the 90s, if you were using indie equipment, it would look like a fucking home movie. Right? It would just look like trash if you didn't have proper professional equipment. But now Hollywood need to make the big IMAX productions like the Project Hail Marys and I know Dune to really stand out, and they are obscenely expensive.
Well, let me pose this question, because you guys, of all the panels I'm on, you guys seem to know exactly where I'm going to go with this question, because you guys have read the books, so you know Dune. I do not know Dune other than, that was the thing that inspired bits of Star Wars, right? I haven't read the books. So for me, I will be watching these movies, and that will be my first introduction to the Dune story, truly. But you guys just spent all this time talking about how there is a lot of problems compared to the book to the film. So at what point are the adaptations destroying the original work? Because you have swaths of people that are never going to touch these books, and they're never going to see the best elements of the story. They're never going to see the best of that story. So at some level, do these adaptations diminish the story? Not diminish the story itself, but diminish the impact that the story should have. And that's another reason why I'm just sick and how many more Star Warses can we get? With every Star Wars iteration, the original 3 are diminished. With every adaptation, with every remake, the original is somehow diminished. Is something diminished because audiences are not seeing what made it worthwhile in the first place. So am I off base?
I totally get what you're saying, and I agree somewhat that when people hear Dune, they're going to think of these movies, and I think they're good movies, but they are, because they are movies, they have to to just pick one or two themes, one or two layers, and they can only go with that. Like we said, like that's just the nature of the beast. I mean, these books are crazy. This is another weird thing where there's no rules to writing. I think as Kristen would attest, like because this book is, Dune is the ultimate tell, don't show. It shows almost nothing. It tells you, because you can't fathom people that can notice tiny muscle movements or control weird little muscles in their hands, or people that have conversations where, you know, it's a language that has 17 emotional tones that you could use, and one character uses the tone that you would use with a barista, which is unusual because he used a formal greeting coupled with a casual phrase that you would only use when talking to a former professor that has now changed careers and is a firefighter or something. And so because of those two things, what the entire room understood to have happened was, but he also made a subtle hand gesture that says the last preposition of my sentence has an inverted meaning. So his personal guard understood that he was shit like that happens in these books that you can't put on film, and there's just you just can't. And it's interesting that it works when that level of tell don't show is happening, but it does, and it's such a famous book. But I get what you're saying, that like, for me, my personal hobby horse, when people hear Wheel of Time now, they're going to think, oh, that shitty Amazon show.
Exactly,
oh yeah, I remember that. And I'm going to go, no. I do. I understand what you're saying. And I agree that there's a level of risk there, especially when they do it shitty like Wheel of Time.
Think about how many people are, when you say, oh, Sauron, they're going to, how many, I would say really young people more than likely, but you'll see this with adults as well, who are going to say, oh yeah, watching the Lord of the Rings films. Yeah, Sauron, I remember him. He had a thing for Galadriel. And that's specifically because of Rings of Power and the damage that's being done by these adaptations. It is destroying, I think, the stories themselves. Adaptation is dangerous today.
I think it started a while ago, because I feel like with the Watchmen film, every decision they made for the film, and this is another Zack Snyder property, I get why they made it to adapt it to a 2-hour film. I understand it. But the Watchmen graphic novel was such a masterpiece with multi-layered, different kinds of media intertwined in there. There was really no way to adapt that into a film without making those choices. But I do think that it did diminish it. And it was made for a film-going audience. It wasn't, really made for the fans. He knew they were going to go see it, but it's like, okay, here, let me explain this to you. You never read the graphic novel. But it was a diminishing. It just made it just another superhero deconstruction. Blech. If it wasn't for the guy who played the comedian, who is just a smoke wagon, it would have been completely worthless to watch. Because that graphic novel was a masterpiece. And I hope that people would go back and read it, but will they? If the movie is all they have, and we won't talk about that fucking HBO show, we won't even talk about that sacrilege. But yeah, there is a diminishing factor to it, I think, in some cases, in a lot of cases, maybe.
Well, I would be an example of that, because I haven't read that graphic novel. So when people say Watchmen, I think of Dr. Manhattan's gigantic blue penis. Like that's all
that's in the graphic novel
picture.
too.
That's what you think of?
But that version of it, that's all, that's what I picture in my mind. And I'm told that it's subpar. That's what's joking. But everybody tells me that, it's very subpar or whatever, but that's the only version of it that exists in my head is that movie. And so that's the best that I know of right there. And that is a little sad.
Yeah, I think it would have taken like a prestige HBO miniseries to do the graphic novel justice. And I guess they didn't want to do that at the time. And then when HBO got a hold of it, we got Black Dr. Manhattan, and I don't want to talk about it.
Well, speaking of adaptations, we're gonna adapt this one again.
Oh, why? I mean, we know why.
Yeah.
Money. Because we want money. But here's the thing. I'm actually a little bit curious if you guys think that this will make a lot of money, because the young people, the youths, which, I'm hip, I'm relevant, it's cool. I know youths. Harry Potter, it's like a millennial and Gen X thing. I mean, and a lot of us are getting older to the point where we're not at like so into it at this point. And I don't know how well this is going to do with general audiences, because I think Harry Potter is one of those things that, you know, for all of us at our age, there's like 20-year-olds that are like, yeah, Harry Potter's old. That was made in the 90s or something, you know, the 1900s. And we're going to feel like, you know, want to die. But I don't know how well this is going to do, because I just think this property is getting older and it doesn't carry the same weight as other properties. I don't know if you guys agree with that or not.
I don't know. Honestly, it's hard to say, because it's online. It's a mocking point. You know, the Zoomers tell us, oh, we have another personality besides Harry Potter. Read more than one book, please. We're begging you. Fair enough. Fine. But from watching the trailer, I think curiosity might help it do well at first, because there's going to be enough differences from the films, and it sounds like even from the books, that they'll be like, well, I'll just tune in, you know, for the memes, for the lols. We'll see how it's different. Now, if it hooks the audience, I guess that depends on the quality of the show.
Does anybody know what Snape has done other than about to be the most polarizing figure on the internet? Has he been in anything else?
You mean the actor?
Apparently he was in some other stuff, and from what I've heard, he's a good actor, but I've never seen him in anything myself. I think this show is going to be a litmus test. This is the ultimate. This is the final test of Hollywood, from my perspective, because all of the franchises, all of the major fandoms in Hollywood have burnt out in some way, and this is the big test of, can we restart them, and can that regain? Can we capture a new audience? Greg, similar to what you're saying. I think normies are going to flock around this. You're going to see all of the normies that don't listen to us. They're not watching, you know, what we make or what we say. They're not watching, but they're also not watching any other sides, or they're not taking sides. They're just consumers. They will watch this, I think. And what's going to happen is we will see that this will be the next Stranger Things in viewership. You're going to see a massive uptick in HBO Max subscriptions for Christmas. This is going to be as big. There's a reason they're dropping it on Christmas. It's because they saw the hype with Stranger Things last year, and they're like, oh, you mean when everyone's home and everyone's together and everyone's on their phones and online, we can drop a show and it'll break records? Yes, please. Why? We're not waiting till summer of 2027 or spring of 27 like we originally wanted. Get that out now. And even if it's just the first episode, it doesn't matter. It's going to get viewership. But it is the litmus test, because if it's explosive, you're going to see Star Wars completely remade, new cast, all over again. You're going to see the MCU restarted in some way. You're going to see Cobra Kai is going to get a new refresh, restart. Everything is they're going to turn the engine back on for everything, starting from zero.
Oh man.
This is the test. This is the big test, and unfortunately, I think that's what's going to happen. I think this has problems getting from season 1 to 2, because if there's any problems along the way of getting there, because the movies are still extremely culturally relevant. You have the theme parks that people are traveling to, spending thousands of dollars to go see. Like, Harry Potter is still a thing. People, this show has big shoes to fill. The music is iconic. You had John Williams' music behind it. You had some amazing performances from legacy actors that are no longer around. That's a big deal, you know. And this guy, the dude playing Snape, you know, whether or not you like the casting choice, this guy is going up against Alan Rickman, who defined Snape for a generation. And most of those people didn't read the books. A lot of people read the books. Not everybody that saw the movies read the books. So they're comparing it to Alan Rickman. But it's going to be everything like that, comparing it back to a movie that I can quote verbatim for each film. So I think there's a lot going on here. Hollywood, this is the big gambit, is what this show is.
Do you think that it has any chance of being actually good, because the format of being a show gives them the license to tell like the entire book, maybe add in some filler details, that a little bit more of the Wizarding World, a little bit more of the happenings around the castle, all that sort of thing? I mean, the first book is actually shorter than I, in my mind, remember it to be. It's actually a pretty short book, the first one is. So do you think that it's a good choice to go with a show where you have more hours than a movie where you have to make those choices we've been talking about, where we have to cut this, we can't bomb Antarctica, we can't have this, can't have Count Fenring. Is this a plus maybe?
If you were to do something that nobody knows, it could work. But with Harry Potter, that this is a 2-hour movie or 2.5-hour movie that, again, you can quote verbatim.
Yep.
Each episode, what's going to define this is, can they make the episodes satisfactory in isolation? Do I feel satisfied as the runtime ends on episode 1? Or am I going to be annoyed that it ended on that point in the story? Like, I know what's next. And I think that could hurt this, because knowing what's next and knowing I can just put on the movie, I'm done. I don't need to wait till next week. There is nothing to look forward. I know the entire story inside and out. So it's going to take massively strong performances. And I think the whimsy that this trailer doesn't show, there is no fantastical whimsiness to it. That sounds really silly to say because I'm dressed like a wizard. Like, it sounds ridiculous. But there is nothing there. The episodic nature of doing this is such a gambit. They almost might have been better doing it as longer films or a streaming event kind of film. Change things up a little bit. But I don't know. Hollywood has a massive problem with making episodes that are satisfying on their own. We look at One Piece. Again, I don't know if you guys watched One Piece, and if you didn't, it's okay. Each episode felt like a full movie. Yeah. So when it ends, you're like, I wish this was a weekly thing. I'm good. I don't need any more. You put the whole season out as a binge model, and I got to make it. I got to watch it for content now. I would have preferred to watch this week to week. 99% of the rest of Hollywood can't do that. So I don't know. Well, I think we're going to have to see.
Well, you bring up a good point with One Piece. And if everybody hasn't watched that live action, it's amazing because it hits the things you just talked about. It has the whimsy. It has the camp. They lean into the camp without it being cheesy or meta or like, look how funny we're being. Like, it's just they're having a good time. It's campy. And that is a valid thing to be, is campy. But you're absolutely right that it's one of the best structured shows that I've seen in a very, very long time. Every episode, you're right, it does end on an interesting note. And every pair, it's 8 episodes long. Every pair of episodes forms its own little story arc. So the first episode ends on a bit of a high, as we're finding out, and then the second episode resolves it. But the first episode still has a satisfying ending, so it's fine on its own. And then the second episode helps to resolve. And so you get this beautiful story that happens. And then there's the overarching story of the entire season. Structurally, I haven't seen the second season yet. That first season is fucking incredible television. You're 100% correct that with streaming shows, people they film 6 or 8 hours or 10 hours worth of shit. And they're like, oh, well, it's been about 30 minutes. Just go ahead and cut it right there. And then we'll bleed into the next episode. We'll do a recap at the beginning, whatever. And there's no structure and it sucks.
Yep. It's awful. It's unforgivable.
I was just having a look at books that were adapted into TV shows, and it's a very mixed bag. Most of it doesn't really work. It's kind of shit. I mean, I'll give you some examples. Like, you've got 13 Reasons Why. I suppose that's just what do you call that fucking teenage garbage? The Handmaid's Tale, which is sort of liberal fantasy propaganda. House of Cards, that was actually decent early on, but then it got really fucking bad. Boardwalk Empire was actually the same. That was good early on and got fucking dreadful closer to the end of the show. And it goes on like that. It's stuff generally that might start well, get shit, or is just sort of made for teens garbage. There's really only 2 that stand out to me. This is the IMDb list I'm looking at that where the adaptation really hit, and it's Game of Thrones and Dexter. Now, Dexter did have a couple of really awful seasons, and it ended dreadfully. But at the same time, Dexter, I think, managed to do 8 seasons, and maybe only 3 of them were shit. The last one was dreadful. And Game of Thrones the same. Like, the first 4 seasons were amazing, and then it got shit, and then it ended horribly. But the point I'm getting at is that TV shows adapted from books have a pretty fucking awful track record. I can't think of I couldn't find a single example out of that list where they just nailed it and got everything right start to finish. Go ahead, Kristen.
Okay, so they adapted the novel The Alienist, and I think it came out on TNT back when, network TV was still a thing. Season 1 was the adaptation of the book. It was wonderful. And because it was wonderful, they decided to renew it for a season 2. Problem being, all of the source material was in season 1. Do you know what they did?
What?
They made the sole female character, who was basically a receptionist for the 1899 New York City police department. They made her into her own, she was the star of the show. She started her own lady private detective business, and she's going to solve the crime. I saw the first 2 episodes of season 2, and I spat my drink out. I'm like, this is the direction you went. This is what you thought this audience wanted. It was comically bad. So yes, I pretend there's only one season because that was wonderful. They just couldn't help themselves. They had to fuck it up.
Yeah, but it's just, there's no, because I was thinking, well, what's the model here? Because if you're looking to adopt a big sci-fi book into a movie, there's many things you can look back to. People will often say 2001: A Space Odyssey, but what they forget is that the book actually came out after the movie. Or was written simultaneously with it, I think, under Kubrick's direction. So that's a weird one. That almost never happens in film history. Anyway, but there's lots of examples of sci-fi to big adaptation movies which are very successful. But I can't think of what in terms of a TV show adapted well from books. There's lots of stuff that almost gets there. It starts well, goes bad. But if Harry Potter follows the model, you're going to have some good and a lot of bad, and then it's going to end terribly. It's just maybe it's a bit different because they can follow the sort of 7 books very closely and base them on those, but and one for each season television, so that's really going to help. But from what I got from the trailer, it's going to be probably much better than Rings of Power and nowhere near as good as Game of Thrones. It'll land somewhere in the middle, and no one is really going to be satisfied. It's just going to be a painfully mediocre, unsatisfying watch that is probably worse than and it's a shame because as great as the movies are, they all have problems, all of them.
Oh, yeah,
and they're easy problems to fix. So Rupert Grint never really worked. He's just a bad actor, and they didn't get Ron right. So they could have fixed that. You get Ron right. There's one aspect that you can fix. You can examine so Hermione's sort of academic brilliance. It's almost like a running joke in the movies, and it's kind of frustrating. Like her being a brilliant student is kind of just played off as a joke. Oh, she's a goody two shoes, and it never really shows the massive amount of effort and the work that she puts in. And I would like her to be a bit more fleshed out in that sense. Like Hermione, she's not just a goody two shoes. Like she really is a brilliant student who works hard. And they could go into aspects of that in the TV show. There's things you can get right that they got wrong in the books, and in the later movies in particular, they were just they were awful. Like I think the 6th movie in particular was dreadful. So you can get things right that they got wrong in the movies, but there are other things that you can't even touch. Like you're not going to write anything as good as what John Williams wrote. You're never going to get a Hagrid as good as what they had in the movies with Robbie Coltrane. You're not going to begin to approach Alan Rickman's Snape. There are things you just can't improve on, but there's a lot of stuff you can improve on. But the sense I get from the trailer, and it is just a trailer, we shouldn't read too much into it because this trailer to me looks really rushed. It's like they took a bunch of footage from principal photography, and it doesn't even look edited. It looks really raw. So the editors just threw a bunch of fucking blue filters over it, used some placeholder music, and just got it out the door. It is a very rushed, sloppy trailer. It doesn't look good at all. So it's a shite trailer, but at the same time, I almost feel like they haven't. It's too early in the production for them to have made a trailer that could get people excited. But from what I've seen, there's nothing to be particularly excited about. It doesn't look good so far. As I say, I will take a more cautious approach. Like everybody else on the planet, I hate what they've done with Snape. But other than that, it doesn't look too offensive, but there's just not enough to go on from that trailer, in my opinion.
I heard that they have shot, we're going to see Hermione discovering that she's a witch and she's been invited to Hogwarts. And I think scenes like that will be a positive thing because they're not in the book and they weren't in the film. but they will be something new, and we have the opportunity to kind of like flesh that out. You know, did she really love school? You know, when she was in her Muggle school, how did her parents react? Things like that. So I think having that extra breathing room in a show might be a good thing, assuming they don't inject weirdness into it.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Hopefully they'll come more out. I didn't realize it was Christmas. I didn't clock that. So yeah, this is early. I guess they're just gauging reactions and stuff.
Yeah, the trailer almost feels more like it's more like a sort of culture test. Like they're just putting a little bit of it out there just to test the waters to see, well, do we need to adjust? It's because it is a really raw, undercooked trailer, and they can make changes. They're not going to change Snape, but they can make changes to other aspects of it at this stage. So I think they wanted a little bit of audience reaction before they, you know, go too far into the post-production or the editing to the point where they can't change anything.
Yeah. The Snape thing is an interesting thing too, because I don't know. Not sure. I don't know if you guys remember a couple years back when they announced this thing, as part of the announcement, HBO, we're making a Harry Potter series, whatever. They said when they announced it, we're going to make sure that representing is a big focus that we're going to have. So that's been baked in from the start. I mean, before they had script writers, even before they had literally anything else other than the rights to make the show, HBO was advertising, we're going to be inclusive. So that's been a priority from the start. But I feel bad for this guy, because I don't care who you are. I don't care if he's another white guy. You're not going to beat Alan Rickman. He's fucked no matter what. And that's a shit place to be in. And maybe the studio decided, let's go ahead. Let's be so different. Let's go ahead and cast a black guy. Let's make him so very different. That way we have no connection to Rickman whatsoever. Criticism can be written off as like, oh, you're racist or whatever, and not just you can't live up to the embodiment of Snape in real life that nobody's ever going to top.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, they took it too far. And the character's relationship with Snape, it's completely changed by the fact that he's black, because you're talking about the UK in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. This is a country where people would behave toward black people in a, not racist, that's a bullshit narrative, but their behavior would change around them because they wouldn't want to be accused of racism. And because they don't know how to deal with these people. It's not like the United States where white Americans have a sort of almost like a little rule book around black people that they play off of, and they put on all this sort of cheesy behavior. It's not like that. It's like, who are these people and how exactly do we deal with them? Because these were people that the vast majority of British people had never really interacted with. So it doesn't work. It requires you to suspend belief too much. But again, HBO don't think about this. It's almost like they're making it from an American perspective. It's wrong. It's stupid. But we'll not talk about the Snape race swap, because it's become, as bad as it is, it's become just too much of the focus of the criticism. There's plenty of other things to criticize about this without going into that. Yeah.
Well, before we get into our next fun adaptation talk, Ryder Sail Away 30 again for $5. Thank you very, very much. Has the same opinion, worried that Hollywood is going to take the wrong lessons from One Piece live action. And I completely agree. I think, Wizard, you were talking earlier that One Piece doing well, if this does well, it's going to be, the remake wave is going to start back up again. And you're absolutely right. They're going to take the wrong lesson.
Yeah.
And they're just going to think, oh, the kids love live action. And maybe maybe Disney wasn't doing it right.
Pokemon live action. What do you think, Greg?
Pokemon live action. When?
Nightmare fuel.
Wasn't that Ryan Reynolds that they had in that movie?
Yeah, that movie
Detective
was
Pikachu.
Forgettable. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that movie was
and I think this was from you, Despot, $10 for Count Kilroy Graff. Please tell me you're doing a video. Is that the April 1st video? Hang on, reaction time. Is that April 1st? Is it The Bride?
It's not the April 1st video.
Thought you had him, Kilroy.
I'll give you a clue. The April 1st video will involve Jared Leto, but that's all I'm telling you.
Oh, it's a Tron Ares video?
We'll see. Basically, I will be doing The Bride, yes. So after my April 1st video, I'm going to be doing my next video after that will be that movie about how World War II was actually won by a bunch of like black female mail workers. And then after that, I'm going to be doing a big video, like, you know, like it might be 3 hours long. And it's basically going to be about feminist cinema. So all of the feminist shite that has come out for the past 10 years. And that is where my review of The Bride is going to come in. I'll probably call it like the nightmare world of feminist cinema or something.
I still haven't even seen that one.
Oh,
there's just only so much
and
time.
I also guarantee, like, The Bride, I'll be talking about it in my May video, but I will also be, it is without question, it is going to be in my worst movies of the year video in December.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're talking, I would be shocked if it doesn't make the bottom 5. It is fucking dreadful. It is so terrible. Just
can't wait to see it.
Dear God, it's awful.
I
could go on and on and on. It's just the most nihilistic, misandrist, hateful, feminist, tired pile of shit. It's like something straight out of 2017. It's god awful. It's dated. It's tired. It's fatiguing. It's like, shut the fuck up. Oh, and it bombed so gloriously. Like, it made, I think it brought in about $5 at the box office on a $90 million budget. Just beautiful.
Let me get this one. This was from you as well. $5 from the real Hosty. Starting to think that audiences don't deserve good movies anymore, considering how much slop they give money to. And I don't like to blame the audience very much, but I see the validity of that statement, that at a certain point, if we keep buying it, they're going to keep making it. And we share a little bit of the blame there. Before we go into this next one, I'm going to switch it up because I'm zany. I'm a crazy guy. Despot, if you've got footage ready, and I know Wizard's going to come back. Kristen said she was going to said she would be a part of this section, but she's going to have to talk about Mario 3 because that's the last game that she played. But Despot had a great idea to talk about some of the stuff we've been playing, the games we've been enjoying, because we shit on a lot of things, but we do enjoy stuff also. So we're going to take a minute here to just do the what are we playing section. Despot, you want to go first? It was your baby.
Yeah, can you show that? I think this is the right game.
Let me get that off. All right.
Right game. I'm going to put the volume way down here. So this is a SNES game called Zombies Ate My Neighbors. So I'm more of a retro gamer. You know what, I'm actually just going to mute this. Give me a second. So I'm more of a retro gamer. The reason I don't really have the time for big modern games, but it's not just that. I don't have the fucking energy for them, man. They're these gigantic open world games which also want to be movies, and they have tons of characters. Like, I actually bought Dying Light 2 and I couldn't take it, man. I just couldn't do it. I opened up the skill tree and there's like 50 fucking moves, and I just thought, you know what? I can't do this again. I just can't. I don't have time for this. I don't have the energy for it. So I prefer to just play older games or even new games that are made in an older style. Like, so for example, you know, a modern 16-bit game or something. Like Terminator 2D No Fate. I really like that. But this is a game I played last year, and I've been playing it again recently, and I was wondering, why do I like this so much? Why is this such a brilliant game? Zombies Ate My Neighbors. And the reason is because this game is essentially a perfect game. It does everything brilliantly. First of all, the gameplay, perfect. It's so crisp. There's no problems. Like, it's not laggy or because this was a bit of a problem. Still a problem today, but back in the day, especially with games like this, you know, side scrollers, and you would have had little problems with janky controls. But the controls in this are so tight. The music is excellent. The game is bursting with personality. Like, you can even see here, you drink this potion and it turns into a giant monster, and then you can fight these chainsaw wielding maniacs in a hedge maze. It's just filled with fun, and it's bursting with personality. It's a humorous, fun game. And the goal basically is you have to run around these levels and save civilians from a horde of creatures. It might be zombies, chainsaw wielding maniacs, mummies. It's very Halloween based. In one level, it is what do you call that movie where they change into giant plants and start running around as sort of plant clones? 70s movie, I think. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So at one level, it does Invasion of the Body Snatchers parody. The weapons are excellent. The weapons are really great. In some games, the problem is that you've got a lot of weapons, but some of the weapons are just shit, and they're actually more of an encumbrance than anything else, and you just sort of scroll past them. Here, the weapons all serve their own function. There's defensive weapons and offensive weapons. Like, so for example, you can leave a clown as a distraction for the enemies to attack, or you can just blow them up with a bazooka. The ammo drops are perfect, never too many, to the point where it kind of just becomes too worthless. Like, I'm not valuing this weapon because it's too easy to find ammo. So the ammo drops are perfect. There's just enough weapons. There's not too many that you're constantly scrolling through them, but not too few that it gets boring. It's a game that is just, it's perfect in every respect. The graphics as well. The graphics they're beautiful. They're fun. They're colorful.
Shit. I was trying to get set up there.
Did it run out of?
Nope. That was me. I was trying to set something up, and
Okay. And the level does. This is another thing that it gets right, and this is what so many games get wrong. The difficulty gradient is perfect. So it starts off the first couple of levels really easy, and then it begins to get more difficult. And then once you're far enough into the game that you're really invested and you really want to pass, it becomes extremely difficult. It has some very difficult boss levels, which you might flat out give up on, but that's really far into the game. Like 3/4 in is where you'll get a boss level where you just might not be good enough to pass it. And it has lots of little secrets. It's a perfect game. And that's what why I was remembering it and thinking back to it. Like, what was so good about this? It's just an example of a game that does every aspect of game design perfectly. If you want to be an indie game developer or you want to get into game design or something, play Zombies Ate My Neighbors, because it is one of the best designed games for the SNES. It is just a masterpiece. Absolutely brilliant game. So that's my wee rant over. But if you like retro gaming, you can just play this on an emulator. Zombies Ate My Neighbors, absolute fucking blast. I love this game. Very entertaining, very fun, and just very funny, just bursting with personality. I love it. All right, that's me. All done for my little game recommendation segment.
I love it. What about you, Wizard? What you been playing?
The last thing I was playing was Crimson Desert. Now, I put a video out on it. I had a lot of problems. I know a lot of people are really loving it. They're having a great time. I bought it on the base PS5 because, like, my computer I need to use for videos, and if I play games on it, it likes to crash on me. I'm like, no, I got to make videos. So I can't be playing games on my PC. I got to use it to make videos so I can talk about games that I can't play on it. I have a lot of problems with it because it's not optimized fully for base PlayStation 5, but that's I put a few hours into that, and I'm hoping to get back in a little later on. So that's pretty much it for me. It's been a busy week.
You've been cranking videos out a lot lately, so
yeah, YouTube has the faucet turned on for me right now, so I'm like, cash in now. I don't mean actually cash, but I mean like now's the time.
Yeah, take advantage.
Turn it off, never turn it back on. So I'm just gonna keep making videos.
Crimson Desert has been pretty polarizing. Some people hate it. Some people just think it's incredible. It's the solution to all the problems we've been having, but it's pretty tepid for you.
Well, it specifically has a brightness color contrast problem on the base PlayStation 5 where it's not optimized properly. So like it requires too much to the point where I can't see what I'm looking at. Like it goes so dark because it's trying to do this realistic lighting. It doesn't work. Mm-hmm. And it just blacks out whatever it is you're staring at because of how dark the shadows are. So I'm like, I can't play this for that long. And no matter how much I optimized it, I've tried different monitors, TV, gaming monitor. I'm like, I can't get through it. So it's, eventually I will go back. They're working on patches actively. So eventually I'll go back and give it a proper restart, try it again once it's patched in 3 years. But I'm glad I spent $70 on the thing. I'm super happy about that.
It's all the paying beta testers have given all their feedback and found all the bugs for them. That's good. Exactly, I like modern gaming that way.
I'm glad I could be a paid beta tester. It's the status of gaming today. What a mess.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, I I've been pretty busy, so I have not been playing games that are super involved, kind of like Dust, but like I need something I can hop in and out of. And there's a game coming out this year that I'm just beyond excited about. It is the next game from Jonathan Blow called Order of the Sinking Star. And it's a puzzle game just like these other ones. So Jonathan Blow is this guy who owns Thekla Studios. And this was his first game, I think, big game called Braid. And this was a pretty simple one that came out a few years ago. It just is a, you have like a time travel mechanic. The flickering is not part of the game. That's just I don't know why OBS was just mad about it. But whenever you make a mistake, you can just reverse time anytime you want. And then all the puzzles revolve around that. So some of the levels will have things that are sort of green and they'll stay where you put them, even if you reverse time, or there'll be purple ones where you reverse time and then your little shadow guy will do stuff. So you kind of have to, the two of you have to solve a puzzle together, you and your shadow. And then about 7 or 8 years ago, Blow put out this game called The Witness, which is another puzzle game. And it is just these boxes that you're seeing right here. That is it. There's no plot to this game. It is just puzzles. And it'll take you about 40 or 50 hours of gameplay to get through all of them. And what's really cool about this, and Blow's specialty, is that there's very little text. Braid had text on screen because it was telling a story, but this one, there's only 2 bits of text. At the very beginning, it just tells you press X to see this cursor come up on screen. And then later it says pull a trigger to run. So you're not just walking around. But these little puzzle sections will be up and it will teach you the rules of the puzzles. Like that one, it was obviously separate the black and white ones. And in this one, you have to cover up these little black dots. And so it will slowly introduce these things and then combine them without explaining it to you, without giving you words on screen and instructions and all that sort of thing. And it's really, really neat. And so later this year, I'm really excited because he is going to be, I had way too much footage of this game because I just freaking love it. But later on this year, he's got this one coming out, which is Order of the Sinking Star. And it is based on a game. I keep forgetting the name of the game, where you have to move blocks around to get your ball out of the thing. Santoku, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, it's based on that. But it's the game is supposed to have these 4 quadrants that'll each have their own little kind of story, and each of the characters here have some sort of thing, like this one can push stones, or one of them moves to the little mirror deals. But then in the center, once you've solved enough puzzles, you'll unlock those powers, and you'll combine the areas to start unlocking new stuff. And so what Blow does really well is he'll teach you some game mechanics and then start to combine them together in interesting ways, and you get to play around with it. He had this interview recently with Thomas Brush, who's an indie game developer, and he, toward the end of the interview, says this amazing thing about how video games are, the joy of video games is where they keep giving you new things to discover, and they keep giving you toys to play with. And just when you think you got it figured out, they introduce some sort of new thing, and you as the player realize, oh, I could use that. I could combine it with this thing I saw earlier, and you get this sense of discovery. That is what makes a game fun, and that's what he's really, really good at. So I'm so excited about that one right there. Order of the Sinking Star. Weird name, honestly. I hate to say that about him, but it's a very strange name. But yeah, I've just been playing his back catalog while I don't have a lot of time to game, and looking forward to that one. Can't wait. Cannot wait.
Heck yeah, man. That looks awesome.
Oh. And Kristen, she said she liked Mario 3. So
yep. The year of our Lord 1992. It was outstanding.
Oh, I like that segment. And again, if you guys haven't seen Wizard, he does like an indie spotlight thing in his videos. So that's a really cool deal. If you're tired of, if you're feeling kind of like Hollywood, like, oh my God, everything's just slop. Everything is just, AAA stuff. It's, it's not just Black Snape. It's Black fucking Samurais in an Assassin's Creed game. It's just, everything is nihilistic in Last of Us. And, Neil thinks he's a fucking enlightened, pretentious piece of shit. If you're tired of all of that and you want to check out some of these cool indie things that are trying new ideas, Wizard spotlights us, and that's really cool. So as far as adaptations go, got some news a couple of days ago that we're going to be extending Lord of the Rings. Rings of Power was not enough punishment. The beatings will continue until morale improves, and we are going to get new Lord of the Rings. And I introduced that too harsh because I'm holding out a little bit of optimism. I don't know if you guys are, because Stephen Colbert is apparently one of the world's premier Lord of the Rings experts. Like, this guy he knows all of the stuff. He knows all the appendices. He knows all the names, the dates. Like, he is a walking encyclopedia of Tolkien's works. but but he's still Stephen Colbert, and he's really got into the culture war in the last couple of years. And I don't know if that's because it gets ratings or if that's because that's where his brain has gone. And so kind of like Greta Gerwig making Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I don't know how this is going to, I don't know how it's going. Well, she's actually making The Boy and His Horse, but I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know. Are you guys super pessimistic, or are you still on the fence with this one?
I think
cautiously optimistic, because he genuinely does love it, and you can tell because he had Pippin on there a couple of years ago, and you could tell he was holding himself back not to completely nerd out and just dominate the entire segment. So the enthusiasm and the love for the source material is there. Will that translate to the page and overcome the ideology? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is my concern, is the, that he might be, because well, and Wizard had a video today talking about this, how with Tolkien, he didn't seek out writing this Catholic story. He's not doing like Kevin Sorbo and, Night at the Museum of the Bible. That is a real thing that Sorbo is fucking working on. I don't know why we're doing this kind of thing, but Tolkien did not do that. He was a Catholic man, and it just sort of bled into the works. And my fear with Colbert is he is a raging leftist, and that might bleed in. Whether he sets out to do that or not, it might just get into the project in the same way that Tolkien's Catholicism did.
And what's worse about this is that this is specifically meant, I mean, just watching that, if you didn't know, if you take us back in time before he does the Colbert show or the Late Show on CBS, and it's just like from the Colbert Report, and it, the old world when everything was like, it's okay, it's like we have differing opinions, but it's fine. Like, and if it was that guy taking over Lord of the Rings, and you watch the announcement video, you could be like, oh man, this might be good. But he specifically says in there that this is going to be faithful to the book, but he wants it to be faithful to the Peter Jackson films. That's dangerous. Rings of Power was very clear. It's like, this is our Lord of the Rings. We don't care about nothing else. This is ours. It exists on its own. No connection to your movies. Get your movies out of here. We're Amazon. If this is, and this is a prequel. So what Colbert is doing is meant to be part of the Fellowship. That could have dramatic ramifications, and so can the Hunt for Gollum that they're actually doing, which that's supposed to be 2 movies. Like, what are these could have extremely serious ramifications for the Peter Jackson trilogy, and it's a form of it's cash grabby. It's a form of desperation for Warner Brothers because they need to make movies in order to keep the licensing. So they're in desperation mode. They're also in desperation mode to keep making money. But I have this, I have a theory that after the merger is complete, because they haven't even begun writing this thing based on that video, right? They're just getting started. All they had pitched was an idea. So they sold an idea, and like now they're going to start writing it, which means we're years out from this thing getting done or seeing the light of day. This is actually a stupid announcement to make, because you've like your show's not over yet, dude. You could have gone on a comedy tour. You could have done you could have done anything else. But now, before your Late Show is even finished by a few months now, you're already saying you're doing a Lord of the Rings movie, which there's an extremely high chance gets cut because of how polarizing he is. That's not to say that the Ellisons or Paramount eating Warner Brothers, like, oh yeah, they're right-wing Republicans. They're not at all. They like making money. And if they see this as being something that will not make them money, I can't see them doing it. But
I have 2 very simple predictions about this. One, this movie is not going to happen. It's extraordinarily unlikely. The amount of movies that get announced that have some vaguely known figure involved, such and such is writing the script. Here's a fucking statistic. Let me see if I can get the actual statistic for you. Like,
so I looked into this announcement while he's looking that up. I looked into the announcement, and some of it was going to be about Bombadil, and then some of it's like a prequel, and
it's a prequel sequel Tom Bombadil mishmash that ends with the Barodins.
It's a lot going on from what I've just the little that I looked up today. Like it sounds like it's about 5 different things.
All right,
it's
so
filling in a ton of stuff.
I got the stat. Every year, the Screenwriters Guild registers about 50,000 scripts, and only 150 of them get into the production. That's about a 0.3% chance to get your script made into a movie. Wow. So if you're telling me that Stephen Colbert is writing a Lord of the Rings movie, that means precisely 2 things: fuck and all. Okay, there's no money here yet. Maybe he's getting a small fee to write the thing from the rights holder. That's about it. I doubt very much when the script is finished and they bring it probably in some sort of script treatment form to the board or whoever it is who makes the big decisions about the money. They're just gonna give it a pass. They say, nah, it's all right. We're just gonna do The Hunt for Gollum 2. If that's a success, right? Or if The Hunt for Gollum is a failure, well, then they're just going to do a U-turn and figure something else out. We'll not go ahead with this whole Stephen Colbert thing because that's a little bit too attached to that direction we were going in with The Hunt for Gollum. So it's not going to get made. It's bullshit. Okay, it's just Hollywood bullshit. And if by some fucking miracle this movie does ever show up, it'll be terrible. It's going to be Samwise Gamgee's daughter as a girl boss, and the 3 old hobbits doddering around like idiots, thinking about how useless they always were the whole time. It'll just be, that sort of Last Jedi deconstructionist men, bad women, girl boss bollocks that you've been getting for years. And Stephen Colbert can't write anything but that because that's the world that he comes from. That's the world that he knows. That's the world that he lives in. There's no way you're going to end up with a good finished movie. It's never going to happen. And I doubt the movie will ever get greenlit in the first place. I don't know why they announced this. It's not going to get made. I mean, we may as well be sitting here talking about how, any one of Kathleen Kennedy's many announced movies were, going to go.
The Ray movie. Let's talk about it.
It's a waste of fucking time. This is bullshit. This is Hollywood bullshit, and it's not even worth talking about, in my opinion. It's just pure. It's content farming. That's all this is. It's just seed for content farmers.
Are you telling me you don't want a movie where Samwise Gamgee's girl boss daughter finds there and back again, and then Sam has to explain Tom Bombadil?
I don't want a new movie explaining the previous movies from a girl boss perspective. That is not my idea of a good time.
Wow.
I don't want to see old Gandalf regretting his decisions, or old Aragorn, lamenting how he actually was shitty the entire, I don't want to see any of that. I'm real tired of the hero deconstruction shit. So that would be the thing that I would be nervous about. But I wonder, well, to add, you bring up a good point. This might not get made. And part of it, I think, is because Rings of Power is failing so badly. And I'm afraid that these studios are going to think, oh, no one likes Lord of the Rings, so we shouldn't invest money in Lord of the Rings, because Rings of Power is, look how much money they spent, and they lost it all because nobody's watching that shit. And the same, you're absolutely right. The same thing, Wizard, you're right, that Gollum will be kind of a test case, or it'll be a test case to, how does this do? And then they'll decide, oh, Lord of the Rings is crap. No one wants it. And really what it is nobody wants half-assed, imagined fanfic crap like what Amazon is doing, or this, origin. Why the origin? What, I don't care what Gollum was doing between when he was a hobbit and when his story has been told. We don't have to keep exploring these origin stories and these in-betweens. That's not necessary. His purpose was served.
It's becoming Star Wars. It's like, we don't fucking care what Obi-Wan Kenobi was doing before the first movie. We don't care what he was doing in the desert. Oh, we need an Obi-Wan Kenobi story, and we need a fucking Boba Fett story, and we need all these stories for all these fucking characters about parts of their life that no one actually gives a shit about. It's like, fuck me, do something else. And it got to the point where they didn't, and the franchise is dead. That's what's going to happen with Lord of the Rings.
Rings of Power is on. They need to finish it. Right. Otherwise, they have to pay out, X amount of millions of dollars for the seasons they didn't do. When that is done, give it 2 years. When Rings of Power is completed, Amazon is going to abandon Lord of the Rings because they're done. They realize they can't make money on it. They don't know what to do. And Warner Brothers As long as there's they need something like this. They need Hunt for Gollum to keep their license in check for a little while so that the Tolkien estate doesn't try to pull it back. But you give it 2 years after Rings of Power is done, and then everybody's forgotten about it, and you're going to see the Lord of the Rings trilogy remade as a show on a streaming network. That's what'll be next, because the movies aren't making money. We need to keep number must go up. The number must go up. And the only way to do that is if we remake Lord of the Rings. That is what is next. And Harry Potter will set that in motion. I'm telling you, everything's going to get remade with Harry Potter being a success. It'll just take years to get there, but it's happening.
Yeah. I'd be interested to see if the animation stuff. So I don't know if you guys saw the news. Wheel of Time is getting another chance as an animated series. Part of, I think IWAT is doing it. Some of the folks that were doing Arcane are working on it. And it's a bit of a mixed bag because I guess some of these companies are invested in AI, so it might be AI generated animation. But I'm interested to see if people are going to try to move that direction, where we'll keep reviving series, but we'll animate them because it's faster and cheaper if we use AI to do it, and we'll see how that goes.
There's a comment here I want to call out. It's Dianoga, or How I Learned to Love the Trash Compactor. Iconic comment. That is a fantastic comment.
There it is.
That is a Star Wars deep cut, and I love it.
Yeah, I see your point there. This might not get made, but I think it was just there for the headlines. But
yeah,
we shall see. We shall see. I got one more thing I want to talk about. We'll wrap this up. Speaking of things being late and not needing to be done, watched this week because it was pitched as this big bombshell on Netflix that Louis Theroux was going to go inside the Manosphere and he was going to expose everything. And I didn't realize that there was such a thing as documentary slop, but this is it. This was the most tepid. All the musical cues and the way he was talking, I thought some sort of bombshell was going to happen. And maybe it's because I've seen these guys. I've seen these red pill manosphere or whatever you want to call it. I don't care about splitting hairs or the semantics. I've seen a lot of these guys. I've seen the stupid, crazy shit that they've said. So maybe it's because there was nothing to surprise me there, but I like to believe that at this point, I mean, before the show, she said, like, this is like 10 years too late. I like to think most of the general public already knew most of this crap. I just don't see the point of this documentary.
This was dreadful. Go ahead, Kristen.
I think it was a face-saving issue because the way it was edited and the way he was talking, I think the way he had hoped or maybe even planned for it to go was to have all these little minor characters. And then he wanted Tate to be like the pièce de résistance. And I don't know if it's because Tate went to jail or because he's just done giving interviews, but he couldn't get him. And so I think what he put out was not what the plan was, and he was trying to build up to something, and it just never did. It just sputtered out. We got these minor characters, and it even dropped before the Sneeko Tate gay accusations, friendship blow up thing happened. So there's really nothing interesting. There's nothing new. It just starts off with this Tate clone, the little TikTok crypto degen, who says nothing interesting. He just, for some reason, beats up a random man on the streets of Spain. Like, that's the most interesting that happens in the whole thing. And it didn't work. There was just nothing interesting. I think even for pearl clutching normies, it was just like, oh yes, just awful online internet male behavior. It was, nothing at all approaching what I think Louis Theroux wanted to do, because he couldn't get who he really wanted to get.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just, I agree. It just seemed like I couldn't tell if he was trying to like an expose, because the one guy, he did get him to admit that basically he doesn't care about his audience. He's just like, I'm here for the money. I do what gets clicks. I don't give a shit, So he was kind of going for this, like peeling the mask back and look, these guys are fakes and they're frauds. But then he didn't really commit to that line. And so a lot of it was just kind of like you said, getting clips of these guys saying weird stuff, but they say weird stuff live by themselves. Like it wasn't, there was no secret information that he was digging into. There was no point.
And he didn't even show the worst stuff. So Myron Gaines is a truly atrocious character. And the reason he got kicked off of YouTube is because he put a Klan hood over his face, dropped the hard R N-bomb all over the place, and made monkey sounds about other Black YouTubers who were going after him. That's why he got booted off. And Louis Theroux didn't put any of that on there. And I'm like, so if this is, it's not even a correctly done hit piece. I'm like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, he didn't do the that Wes Watson guy that we used to hang out with Fresh and Fit, like, and he just got arrested. So that would have been good to put in there because it would have lined up quite nicely. He got arrested for like beating his girlfriend or something. He's a real piece of shit. Like, yeah, there's all kind of, I mean, just for shock value. I agree. Like, okay, put aside the fact that this doesn't really say much. It didn't even have the shock value that it could have had. It was fucking boring.
Yeah,
that was what I got from this. It was so fucking boring. Like, if his intention was to sort of go after these guys and expose them, it's like, lad, you're about a good few years too late here. I mean, this whole Manosphere, no one calls it that anymore, but the whole red pill movement, its apex is gone. Like the Andrew Tate had a massive aura shatter last year when he fought some fucking reality TV star in a boxing match. The reality TV star can't box at all. Like, doesn't even know how to throw a punch correctly. He holds his hands at his fucking waistline, right? when he's in a box ring. He doesn't know anything. He has no technique. He's terrible. But he kicked Tate's ass because Tate went into the ring. Tate can't fight either. Tate won his belts, right? Here's an example of Tate's fighting prowess. He won his world championship kickboxing belt against a guy who had never fought. Okay, he fought for a fraud promotion that gave him a belt that he probably paid for in a fight that was probably rigged. Tate is a con man. He's not a fighter. He never was. He's not a real fighter. A lot of his fights were probably rigged or they were pay to win. And he was fighting another guy who does pay to win tourism. If you're wondering what that is, so for example, I think in 2025, there were like 256 instances of Americans v. South Americans that took place in a particular region in Mexico. And in that region, of those 256 Americans, 256 of them won. Can you guess why? It's called win tourism. You basically pay a fee to a fraudulent promotion and they get you a boxing win. It's done for online clout or to pad for a boxer to pad his record so he can get more money for his next fight. Things like that. And the guy Tate was fighting had been doing this pay to win stuff. He'd had 4 or 5 pay to win fights in Mexico, and Tate still couldn't beat him. And this was Tate's last ditch defense of his reputation. You know, I might be getting accused of sex trafficking and my, CoffeeZilla might have exposed my grift, but I'm still a fucking man. And he goes and gets his ass beaten, and he looks like a wee cream puff. And he's a wee furry man. I could beat the guy, and I'm not even kidding. I seriously think if I got into a ring, he's a bit bigger than me, but I think I have a decent chance against him, with my amateur background. But it was pathetic. And the whole Manosphere thing's done now. Like, Andrew Tate's done. Like, he's just had that massive aura shatter. And this documentary is fucking Louis Theroux talking to, I think, 3 or 4 guys. And this is what I got from it. They're so, these guys, they are so fucking boring. All they talk about is bitches, money, the stuff they own, and, the success they have had in life. Like, fuck me, these guys could bore. I couldn't believe that this is what passes for TV now. These unbelievably boring guys just talking shit about themselves forever. Like, one wee guy, the first guy was talking to his claim to fame, and he was bragging about this. This was his fucking brag. It's like, bro, last night got a fucking blowjob in the toilet. Yeah, I was fucking filming this bitch while she was going down on me. Yeah, this guy, and it's like, that's a brag now. I went out and a girl gave me a blowjob, but that's not a big deal, my man. Like, me and the guys I used to hang out with, that wasn't like, it's not hard to get laid. This is
that's
not
like a Wednesday night.
It's like, that's just called a Friday night down at Lavery's, lad. That's not a claim to fame. That's not, you don't get clout because a girl gave you a blowjob. Like, what the fuck is this?
And Louis Theroux was there with his sort of wide-eyed, like, oh, what, really? She gave you a blowjob in the queue? Oh, did she know she was being filmed? Oh. And it's like, it's not the fucking 1920s. Louis, he came off as such a pearl-clutching Victorian. It was pathetic. I thought this was embarrassing. And I think Louis Theroux was partially doing this because he failed to expose that pedo in the UK, Jimmy Savile, right? And he even got called out on it in this documentary. The guy turns right and says, oh, yeah, I hear you're big mates with Jimmy Savile, mate. Yeah, Louis. And Louis goes, oh, actually, I exposed Jimmy Savile. And he did not expose Jimmy Savile. He did a really softball documentary with Jimmy Savile. And if anything, he made Jimmy Savile look like he was the victim of false accusations. Okay? That guy had fuck all to do with exposing Jimmy Savile, and he's making this documentary as a cope. He's desperately looking to fix his reputation after the fuck up with Jimmy Savile, because that destroyed his career, and it showed that he doesn't know how to do an expose. He doesn't know how to do his fucking research, because if he did, he would have got Jimmy Savile while Jimmy Savile was still alive. And you can probably hear him a bit angry about this, but this is a big fucking thing in the UK. People were really upset about the whole Jimmy Savile thing, and this piece of shit had a shot to expose him, and he fucked it up. And here he is doing the whole Manosphere thing in a desperate, pathetic attempt to salvage what's left of his shite reputation. And guess what? He fucked this up too. The documentary is a bomb. It's fucking awful. It's him talking shite to three of the most boring fucking guys you'll ever meet in your life. If anything, all this does is show that the Manosphere is nothing more than a bunch of pathetic fucking losers following these gurus, these McGurus, it doesn't matter what era of time you go back to. You go back to the 70s, you got your McGurus. You go to the 80s, you've got those fake martial artist gurus who are going to teach you how to kill a man with one shot. You go to the 90s, you've got your quick scammers, your fucking guys who show up on those 30-minute ads on television teaching you how to get rich in 5 minutes. They appear in every era of culture. And in this era of culture, the snake oil salesmen are the Manosphere guys. They're all selling their bullshit NFTs and their shit coins and their Telegram groups, which are going to teach you all the trades that are going to make money. It's bollocks. It's this wanker Louis Theroux wasting his time with a bunch of snake oil salesmen. This thing was a waste of my fucking time. I'm glad that I didn't watch that and only listen to it while playing GTA 3.
Do you know what the, like, if you listen to Andrew Tate's stuff and they talk about like the real world and you got to join our Discord and do you know what the class is? Because I looked into it at one point just as a like I was doing it for content. It's just drop shipping. They teach you how to do Shopify drop shipping. And it's like, hey, you're going to need to put up $4,000 and then you need to put up another $12,000 for Facebook ads. What? We're doing 2012 Facebook ads marketing strategy? What? Are you serious?
What? CoffeeZilla did a brilliant Andrew Tate expose. It's a lot better than this piece of shit. And he goes over the grift that he goes over how Andrew Tate makes money. It's basically he charges guys like $50 to $100 a month for his piece for access to his website. And it's like Fake Wizard says, it's stuff like drop shipping. They teach drop shipping, which was a thing for about 5 minutes before even NFTs came in. That was one of the get rich quick things. Oh, bro, I fucking just made 9 G's today on my drop shipping account. I'm selling the account for 30 G's. The first motherfucker who hits me up is going to get the account. Hurry the fuck up, motherfucker. You know, it's that very 2018 drop shipping thing, and they're still teaching it on Andrew Tate's website. It's cringe and it's embarrassing. And do you know what he could have done something interesting here. He could have asked, why are young men gravitating toward these fucking loser McGurus? Why are they doing that? And if he had gone into it, he could have thought, well, hold on a minute here. Young men, very often, he did mention fatherlessness, but that was basically all he mentioned. But he also didn't look at the economic side of it. If you're a hardworking, ambitious young man in the West today, well, guess what? Fuck you. You're never going to own anything. It doesn't matter if you go into corporate because you're losing out to Shaniqua when that promotion comes around. There are no men's organizations or men's spaces left for you to try to improve your life in. Marriage is very often just turns out horribly for young guys today, and they lose everything because the divorce courts are against them. There is serious, like DEI is essentially just officially sanctioned discrimination against young men, very particularly young white men. So there are many reasons. Like you could be a young, intelligent, well-educated young man, and the life you've got ahead of you is just serfdom. You're going to rent forever. You're never going to own a nice home, and you're going to work some shit job because you're not going to get promoted ever. And the company will fire you in a heartbeat, right? And you won't even talk to your landlord. Like 40% of residential homes now, by 2030, 40% of residential homes in the US will be owned by private fucking equity. So your landlord won't even be a face you can talk to. It'll be some faceless corporation that just put your rent up. And if you won't pay for it, they got some slaves coming in from the third world who will. So that's the world that a lot of young men are entering. No fucking wonder they're going toward these McGurus. No wonder, because where else have they got to turn? It's pathetic. It's desperation, but still, this is what when you completely disenfranchise young guys and you create an economy that just shits all over them, this horrible boomer economy, then this is what you get. But no, Louis Theroux didn't want to do that. He just wanted to talk to some guy about the blowjob he got in a cubicle. This is embarrassing. Netflix should be embarrassed.
Because it's not about shining an actual light. It's not about actually pointing those things out, because that hurts them. Because Netflix and the people who finance this documentary participate in that economy. Exactly. And it's easier. And I mean, even just this picture here, this is not designed to, hey, here's what's going on in the world of men, and here's why they're falling for these grifting marketing traps. It's like, hey, we're going to villainize men because it's low-hanging fruit and everyone else is doing it. Let's make a quick buck. Netflix is going to pay us tons of money to go and villainize men. And it's everybody else is doing it, so why wouldn't we? It was never about actually identifying what a real problem is. This is propaganda. That's all this is.
Yeah. Well, and the sad thing is that he gives lip service to it. In the last 120 seconds, I think he barely mentioned, oh, well, there must be some reason why men are watching these guys. And then that was it. And then credits. So he says it right at the end, and that's all. So that way he can claim, well, I did ask the question, but yeah, the documentary is nothing. I'm not surprised that the Saffold thing was so weak, because all of the questions in this, I mean, how can you call yourself an interviewer or a documentarian or whatever when you're interviewing somebody and they say something crazy and you just say something like, well, why don't you just try to be a good person? I mean, maybe you should just be a good person. That's what you should do. That was one of his questions. What the fuck is that? That's not an interview. Barbara Walters would never. And so, yeah, it's weak ass softball questions like that. And these guys just talk over him, and he goes, well, I just disagree. I don't think that's right. And that's it. That's his only pushback. That's his only angle. It's just, it was nothing. It was a complete nothing burger. And and the sad thing is, like, this should have been a YouTube video. I mean, this is the kind of thing that you would just do. This is like a reaction. This is all this video or this documentary really was just something that I might do of just, I saw a headline, it sucks, I'm going to make a video, I'm reacting, it sucks, look at how stupid this is, which I have done. That's what he did, but he called it a documentary, and it lent some sort of gravitas, but there is none. There's no substance to this at all.
Well, and he actually does that a couple of times. He tries to distinguish, what he's doing from, the lower content creators. Like he chastises little HS Tiki-Talkie. Why did he name that? He's like, oh, don't talk to the camera and pretend the cameras aren't there. You don't do that in a real documentary, like trying to, little bro him. But it's like, what you're doing is not different from what YouTubers do at all, at least in this particular instance.
Yeah, it was sad. Thanks, I thought it was gonna be fun. Yeah, you're right. It's Netflix. What can you really expect?
Thanks, Netflix.
Last thing for the night is a trend that I'm afraid is going to keep. I don't know, because of the Epstein thing, because of the Trump thing. I'm really afraid this trend is going to grow. I was surfing Instagram one day, and I saw an ad for this show that's coming to AMC next month called The Audacity. And I don't know if you guys watched the trailer for this. Basically, it's Silicon Valley. You guys are, it's crazy concept for a show. You're never going to guess. Okay. Silicon Valley, and it's a bunch of rich CEOs of these startups, and they're really shitty people. And I know I know, like, you're thinking, what? A show about shitty Silicon Valley startup CEOs? Like, I've never heard of such a thing. What a novel and fresh, amazing concept. But it gets even better because the show seems to be framed around therapists. These people are all seeing therapists because they know they're shitty people, and they just want to talk about their issues. So most of the show seems to be in the therapy office, and then we will be preached at the audience through these two female therapists. I think the gal in the gray suit in the bottom left, the gal in the maroon shirt there in the upper left. They're gonna basically talk to each other and say how shitty these people are, and then we're gonna see them doing obnoxious, unethical, ridiculous things because they're rich and they don't care. So the salt burnification, the menuification, apparently it's just, I thought it was dead, but apparently it's not. Did you guys watch this? Did you watch this trailer?
I watched it. It just looks like Silicon Valley core slop. I got a little bit of rich people bad, but I think it's more like a sort of cartoonish exaggeration of Silicon Valley culture. And that's essentially, like, your elevator pitch was perfect. Hey guys, it's going to be about Silicon Valley rich people, but they're all shitty. That's essentially the show. Yeah. If you want to watch a really great show about that kind of Silicon Valley culture, watch The Dropout. It's about Elizabeth Holmes, who was the Theranos fraudster. Like, she was the CEO of Theranos, and sorry, excuse me, I had something caught in my throat there. Yeah, so you want to watch the Dropout? It's about that crazy lady who put on that really deep voice, and but the Audacity. Yeah, Greg, I can't say I'm very optimistic about the Audacity. Not at all.
Yeah. Do you guys think this is going to be? Do you think this was something that they were working on, and this is kind of just the last thing that? Well, we filmed it. Still that comedy show was big, so we need to go ahead and make something. Or do you think that we are ramping up and we're going to see more rich people bad?
I know this is becoming an overused word. This is almost like the new woke, this word. But in my defense, I predicted this, right? I predicted that we had entered the era of slop. And that's what this is, man. This is just pure fucking filler slop.
There's a show this reminds me of. It's called Your Friends and Neighbors. I don't know if any of you guys saw or know that about this. It's John Hamm, and it's, again, just rich people suck, the show. And there's nothing redeeming about it. And I was like, oh, it's gonna pick up eventually. And I got to like episode 4, and I'm like, this is not picking up at all. This is just rich people suck, the show. Mm-hmm. And I have way more important things to do. I'm out. So I look at shows like this, and I'm like, who has time for this? Like, I don't know. I mean, sometimes you find good shows that like that could be good, with elements like this. But I don't know, man. I can't stand television these days. It is all slop. It is all crap. And like, even you think back on, like, I wasn't even the biggest fan of The Office, but like The Office, 30 Rock, Parks and Rec, like that era, that was like the final era, the 2007 era of like the sitcom kind of primetime television. Everything after that is garbage. Like everything after that is garbage. And now it's gone cynical, right? Because we had the Office era, and then it went into the Modern Family era. But now it's all these sitcoms that they're a lot higher budget, but they're also so cynical and negative all the time. It's like, who is this for?
I don't even like Succession.
It's the pad streaming libraries, and you're absolutely right that it ended with the sitcom era, because after that, they needed to be able to advertise that we have 5,000 shows that you could watch. Are they good? We have 5,000 of them. That's what you need to know. It's like Little Caesar's Hot and Ready Pizza. Is it good? It's fucking hot and it's ready. All right?
It's $5.
Kristen, what were you saying about Succession?
I didn't even like Succession. Like, it got such great reviews. People love that show. They clipped it all the time. But I watched the first 2 episodes and I'm like, these people, every last one of them deserves to die. I don't want to watch this show at all. So, the fact that the writing was smart and the pacing was good kind of was irrelevant because they're just garbage human beings. It's like, yeah, I hope you all have heart attacks and die.
Yeah, I felt that way about The Bear. The Bear was getting so much fucking hate. It was getting all the awards. So I decided to watch like the first 4 episodes of it, and I watched it with my wife, and both of us were just so bored and checked out that we gave up. Like, she was on her phone after like 15 minutes, like she just couldn't take anymore. And I stuck in there till like the 3rd or 4th episode, and I just thought, what the fuck is this?
Mm-hmm.
It's a bunch of very boring characters saying very clever, polished lines to each other in clever, polished dialogue exchanges. It's kind of like, I don't know what you would call it. It's midwit TV. It's like, it's almost designed to make midwits feel smart.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. It's the kind of thing that midwits look at and think, oh my God, that's amazing. But actually, if someone with, who has half a brain watches it and thinks, this is shit. Like, it's something that people who are really smart will watch it and think, no, this is shit and it's contrived and the dialogue's unnatural and the characters are boring as fuck. And someone who's really dumb will watch it and think, this isn't entertaining. This is fucking boring. Like, but it really appeals to that midwit demographic. Those people who, I need a source. Can you please give me a source for that? It's that kind of demographic that it's going to appeal to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there's too many shows now where it's like, hey, every single character in this show is unlikable, and that's the point. Like, you're not gonna like anybody, but there's an overwhelming amount of them on every streaming network. So this is, I seriously think it's they must, like, it's got to be a game with these executives where they put 5 scripts on the table, they flip them upside down, and then they flip them around on the table a little bit, shuffle them. And then it's just like, stop. And whatever their hand lands on, that's what they're going to make. Plot twist, they were all the same thing anyway. So it didn't make a difference. So that's the modern Hollywood now.
I looked up Friends and Neighbors, and immediately it's being described as a dark comedy, which is already red flags for me because I've not seen anything in the last decade that's been described as a dark comedy that was anything other than just sad and nihilistic. But every now and then there's some slapstick. So I don't know. It's supposed to be like they want to go for gallows humor. That's what they mean by dark comedy, but it doesn't work. They're just sad and bitter, and it sucks.
I got 4 episodes in. I'm like, I'm done. Nope. This is just it's badness, like not bad, badness. Like, time is limited on this planet. I'm not spending it on this.
That's how I've said this before, but that's how you know when a show is terrible, when streamers just don't even bother tearing it apart. Like, you could get paid. We could get paid to talk about these things, and it's so bad that it's just not worth the time of your life that it would take to do it. It's akin to prostitution. It's not. I don't want to do it. I have some dignity.
Like we have Daredevil is back now on Disney Plus, and I tried to cover it last season, and no one cares. Those are terrible video performances, and I'm like, I can't do it again.
Yeah, it's just there's some shows that come out and they're so nothing that nobody people care so little that they're not even going to tune into a review of it.
Yeah, it's real sad. Well, that one's going to come and go. We might be the last people to talk about that show for in history.
The first and the last.
Yeah.
I got a few things to wrap up here. Bookwormer gifted 1 membership. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. We had not that one. I got them all mixed up. Doge Pal $2. Thank you very much for that. Got the email. I did. I just I'm working 12-hour days, 7 days a week at the moment, so I'm not doing much. I barely put these slides together. I did that 20 minutes before the show because that's where I'm at right now. I think this might have been on you, Despot. Big Gator 5, $2. Has anybody seen The Hobbit, 1977, the animated one? I have not. I've seen The Last Unicorn, which is similar, but
is it a good movie? 77 one.
I watched it in my 6th grade class. I remember enjoying it. Everyone in the class enjoyed it. And the animation is of its time, but it was, I'm going to say borderline revolutionary for the time. It was pretty good. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. The Hobbit's good. I enjoy all of those, the Rankin Bass and Lord of the Rings movies. Like it's the same guys that did Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and like Frosty the Snowman. So I find those charming.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, no, Gator was me. But this is you. Grasshopper giving away 5 Despot memberships.
Thank you very much, Grasshopper. I appreciate that.
And lastly, Tiny Conspiracy, $5 to Despot. Entertainment is so empty. Well, you know what? You should read this. It's your change, your thing.
Entertainment is so empty now. My question to the panel would be, what percentage of shows you give a chance have yielded any enjoyment in the last 5 years? It's a very good question. It's my gut feeling for that would be any enjoyment, like any at all. It's going to be 15% or lower, probably. Greg?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't even be some that I've given the chance. I think I've had a higher number, but only because I'll take recommended. I see them in the comments and stuff, and if one gets enough comments, like Freerin was one that people just would not stop talking about the show. And I'm like, all right, cool, I'll watch it. I got to see what the hubbub is. I loved it. Violet Evergarden was another one that people just couldn't stop recommending. Arcane was one that the first season, we won't talk about the second.
There is, Craig, there is no second season to Arcane. I think you're confused.
That is true. There's no such thing. We had a perfect season. But as far as other things that I've actually taken a chance on, yeah, I would give the 15%. And even stuff that I kind of enjoyed in the moment, like you brought up a good point when we were talking about Wonder Man a few weeks ago. I enjoyed it. I watched 5 episodes before we went on stream, and I was like, I'm having a good time. I haven't watched the other 3. So that tells you something right there that I haven't made the time to watch it. I enjoyed it while I was watching it, but you made a good point. You said, would you recommend it to somebody? And I thought, no, absolutely. No, I would not. I wouldn't tell someone you need to go take 8 hours of your life and commit it to Wonder Man. I had a fun time watching it. I won't hate on the show, but I also would never tell anybody to actively seek it out. And then I didn't go back and finish it. So,
well, you better lock in, Greg, because we're getting a season 2.
Oh, I'm so excited.
You're gonna shit, Greg. I mean, think of the massive channel views you'll get when you release videos about season 2 of Wonder Man.
I see it floating around Twitter, but like Wonder Man is one of those that you could attach the Surf Dracula meme to. That he doesn't even do anything until the last episode, and apparently Lantern's gonna be the same way. So no, Conspiracy. It's been. What about you, Kristen Wizard? Do you any percentage on shows you've enjoyed?
Well, the percentage is high. It's nearing 100%, but only because I will not watch shows at all unless it's across the board. All of my most trusted reviewers are like, watch it. It's so good. Like, so the ones that I really, really enjoyed was like Blue-Eyed Samurai. I only watched that because Drinker and everybody else was like, yes, watch it. It's not what you think it is. Watch it. So unless I get that full-throated endorsement, I will not watch any show. I'll take a chance on a movie because that's 2 hours. Fine. Fair enough. Yeah. I will not even start a show unless I think there's a 90% chance that I'll like it. So the percentage is high, but the percentage of what comes out versus what I watch is really low.
I really liked One Piece season 2. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. I know a lot of people had problems with it being an adaptation of the manga and the anime, but knowing about I'm not even caught up with the anime at all. It's just too much. But I've caught up. I've seen up to that, and I enjoyed it. No, there's a lot on that's on right now that is just not good. So I'm in the single digits of percentage watched versus what I actually like. Like Well, any of you guys give reviews?
Not-
I did a video review. I liked it a lot.
Bombed, didn't it?
Bombed?
Like in terms of views?
No, it actually did really good.
Your video?
Oh no, the One Piece video did well, and the show did pretty good too.
No, I wouldn't. Like if I touched One Piece, I guarantee like 6 people would watch it. I just get that sense from it. Also, it's and this is just well known throughout YouTube. Positive reviews do much worse. Although I will be doing a very positive review in my April 1st video, so watch out for that.
It is Tron Ares.
Man, my interest is so damn peaked. Dojpal followed up on the email comment. Just wanted to keep me informed. I appreciate that very much. I had one more from Writers again. Hollywood is dead. Just watch anime instead. And Writers is right there. I mean, hell, last year Hollywood is being like even in dollars getting beaten. Demon Hunter, something Fortress of something. I can't remember the name, the full time. But the Demon Hunter movie came out. I mean, destroyed most of the movies that came out last year. And then not to mention that Nijao 2 that made like $2 billion or something. It's just unheard of amounts of money. No, it's taken over. It's taken over. And having watched dip my toes in a little bit, I can see why, because they're either sincere, where a lot of Western stuff is wanting to still be ironic and ridiculous, or when they're not super sincere, they're still campy. Campy is something that I'm starting to realize is what we're missing. Western entertainment is really bad at doing campy because they either do the meta aware, like we're being campy, but we know it's dumb, and so just so you know, we're cool. No,
we're looking right down the barrel of the camera and winking at you every time we do it.
Yeah, and the Eastern stuff is really good at just the whimsy and the camp, and I think people are enjoying
Greg,
that.
Kristen has got to take off, so I think we should probably wrap things up anyway.
Yeah, we should. I got to get to bed anyway. Well, Kristen, Wizard, thank you guys so much for stopping by. Appreciate you. Appreciate your thoughts. Make sure to check out Kristen and Wizard. Kristen does really interesting interviews with authors. And Wizard does a whole plethora of stuff these days: movies, shows, video games, and propping up the indie folks. Despot has got our appetites whetted for his April 1st video, so I'm very excited. We'll have a couple of days, and then I've got a boring one about books this week. So thank you guys very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time on the Dagos show, or the Gods, or whatever we come up with. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for listening.